2. And we open on uproarious laughter. Yeah, welcome to the serious group, everybody. Another episode of Curse of Strahd, Barovian Nights, with your host, DM Misha, and your crew, who are supposed to be super serious role players. Um,
Mm-hmm.
last
Very
time,
serious.
yeah, last time we joined our friends here. They got into some troubles with some shadowy death specters and a certain glowing orb that later proved to be very useful against the Dursts, who were apparently still hiding in the walls down here in the basement. Two of our party members, possibly three-ish, almost fell to the tender administrations of our ghastly hosts, but some quick thinking and quick orb thrusting by Wilhelmina helped to win the day, along with Grayson's own diligent slashing and Nocturna finally, putting the hurt on. So everybody is, while maybe not 100% great, is at least not more unconscious.
I've had worse.
Um,
What is my health since I can't look at my screen right now?
I
I know
believe
I fell unconscious. Am I still unconscious?
I believe you were stabilized, and that's
Correct.
about it. Yeah, you have been
I'm still
stabilized.
unconscious.
Yeah,
Lovely.
yeah.
Grayson is actually gonna go over to the chest and the vials that you had so greatly described earlier. He's going to try and inspect them to hopefully find potions to mend their wounds.
I have no more spells, right? Okay.
So there are 5 vials there. 4 of them look exactly the same, filled with a reddish sort of liquid that each has a succulent-looking berry floating around in it. And the final one, the 5th one, has a sort of liquid fire roiling around within.
Uh, is there any role I can roll this to possibly determine what they might be?
Does anyone know anything about
Um,
anything?
are you proficient in the alchemy skill
Yes, I
or
actually
alchemist
have
tools?
I have an alchemy kit and alchemy supplies.
Yes, then you can go ahead and roll either wisdom or oh, there you go. Alchemist supplies. Yep, you take a single drop from one of each of the vials, and you put it into your nice safe beakers, and you put the testing reagents into it. And you determine that 4 of the vials are regular healing potions, and the 5th one is a entire vial of alchemist's fire.
Okay,
Yeah.
he's going to kind of like put the fire one to the side and the healing ones to one side and go and make a mental note of what's what, and then he's gonna turn and he goes, "All right, who needs health? We got 4 healing potions here that we could use now, unless y'all want to board up in this room and rest a bit."
Uh,
And what were we
I
investigating, Paige?
Paige is investigating this thing that Paige is next to.
Okay.
Trying to rifle through it for goodies, and Paige will also say, if we can barricade this room and rest for a short while, I think that would be preferable. We do not yet know what horrors await us in the rest of this place. They may
that's
come in handy later.
save the potions for later. Yeah.
my thoughts exactly. Yeah, I think we're all agreed to rest here.
All right, and Paige with 25. You see what Wilhelmina and several of the others had seen before. There are several long black robes inside this open wardrobe, a couple of which have been eaten by moths and damp over time. There are 2 large iron candlesticks that have the slightest bit of corrosion and rust along the edges. And there is one nice, soft velour looking bag that appears to be empty, just at the bottom of the wardrobe. It's made of a plush, kind of velveteen material.
Oh, okay. Gonna take the bag and, I don't know, look inside.
The bag is very light, does not appear to have anything in it, and in fact, when you open it up and peer inside, you make a perception check for me.
I will do that. Tab
You see a
over.
Greg?
Hello, Greg.
Greg.
You don't actually see anything at all, but that does strike you as peculiar because the nothing seems to extend for a very long while. In fact, you cannot see the bottom of this bag.
Dun dun.
Lucius would like to go over here, pick up Lily, and then place her in the bed, like center of the bed. It's like
Lily
a
wants to look at the
mimic.
book. Lily wants to look at the book in the chest.
Not right now. You have a bad track record with books.
I don't want to look at it. And she doesn't feel good because she's weak and she wants to look at the book.
Fine, I'll get the book.
Can we ensure the room is secured?
Oh, that's right. Can I move this box thing in like front of like this doorway where like Wilhelmina's next to?
So
I think that was just a hole in the wall.
it's a hole in the wall.
Never mind.
This is the area we would probably have to be aware
See,
of.
there's a place downtown where the freaks all come around.
Yeah, Paige is
Have we
gonna
checked inside
try
the box?
to get- Well, Paige is gonna tie the pouch to her waist through one of the, I don't know, the hem of her skirt, I don't know. And then she's gonna try to scoot the armoire thing over to block the doorway.
Alright, so strength check for Paige to scoot that. Lucius, as you pick up the crate, you do hear jumbling and jostling. There is something inside of it.
Oh, dear.
Alright, time to investigate the crate. Investigation check, right?
Yep.
This is how we die.
It's
It's not
heavier
how
than
we
this.
die. This is how I find out I cannot look what's in front of me in the crate.
Paige, that's a really heavy wardrobe. You might need some help with it.
I'll help in a second, but look at this crate, guys. It's got
about 30 or so torches and about 15 white candles.
I think I will pocket some torches.
I would like to take the lantern from Grayson's chest.
Okie
We will
dokie.
be able to see until
Now-
the end of time.
Now let me just recap what's in this chest for all of our listening audience. We'll start from the beginning, and then we'll go from there. Now, there are 4, as Rayson has identified them, potions of healing, regular potions of healing. There is 1 flask of Alchemist's Fire. There is a small wooden box that sounds like it might have a coin in it. There is a folded cloak, a nicely folded cloak. What looks like a chain shirt. Its links glittering amongst the other items in there. A tin containing a masket. A bullseye lantern that Wilhelmina is reaching out and taking. A set of more ornate looking thieves' tools than the ones that had been previously used. And a book with a yellow leather cover that Draconius is handing to Lily.
Should I read it like a story time?
I can read.
I was just asking if you wanted a story time. Fine, I just hand over the book.
Alright, so Lily's in possession of the book. These are the items that are in the chest. Wilhelmina's taken the bullseye lantern. I believe currently Grayson is in possession of all 4 of the potions because he was looking at them. Gallen's still unconscious on the floor.
Can I
Lily-
check
resting.
Alan's like status?
He's stable, but he's unconscious.
Gotcha. Does he have any valuables? No, I'm kidding.
Galen can stay unconscious on the floor.
He'll be fine. He can
Yeah,
just sleep off.
we just shuffled him together into a log, and that's good enough.
You can
Grayson,
use him to barricade the door.
Grayson, we'll speak up here. Does anyone by chance have like a pen or something so I can label the cork on these vials?
Yes, I have a quill and some ink. Here you go. And I pull it out of my bag.
Grayson will take it and label the vials and then put them on his belt.
Is my strength check enough to move the thing that
Yeah.
Paige tried
That
to
was
move?
a strength save, but I think the modifier is the same for you, so I'm not going to make you
my
re-roll
bad.
it. It's
Wrong
fine.
roll, my bad.
Yeah, a
okay.
14 is fine, especially with Paige assisting. You both, and it's a long kind of sort of noise, but you managed to move the wardrobe in front of the front of that area.
Yeah.
So let's split up the rest of what we could make use of. Who needs these thieves' tools?
I
I
think
wanna-
I'm the only one who knows how to use them.
I can use them. I've seen you do it once.
How about this?
I have my
I'll take these new ones, and then you can have these ones.
Okay, I
fair.
guess.
Okay, and then a cloak. Who needs a cloak? Who needs anything to keep warm?
I take 2 of the torches.
I suppose my clothing is in tatters, but I do not feel heat or cold.
I'll
True.
take the cloak.
Is it a magical cloak?
I don't believe so, but it is nicely folded.
I'm gonna take the cloak and kind of like use as a pillow if we're gonna rest in this room.
Alright,
Okay.
so Draconius, you take the cloak and you kind of ball it up underneath your head, and you kind of feel like your head has one more AC than it did prior to you touching this cloak, because it is a cloak of protection. Hold on one moment.
Oh hell yeah! I'm keeping this cloak forever.
There you go.
Why don't you give it to one of our unarmored people?
You,
You can use it later.
but I
But-
needed a pillow because I'm probably gonna be sleeping on the floor.
I would probably wear it rather than have a pillow, but otherwise, next, what about this chain shirt? Who needs more protection?
So this is medium armor. It starts at 13 AC plus whose ever dexterity to equal what your AC will be. So you have to be proficient in medium armor to wear it. And you will have disadvantage on stealth checks while wearing it because it is metal.
Oh.
And it goes
I don't
jingle,
know
jingle, jingle.
if I can wear that or not, but I don't think I can. So skip.
I think I can wear medium armor. I am
Okay.
kind of a frontliner, but my current armor might be better.
You are a cleric, and let me see what you've got right now. You can definitely wear medium armor.
think I have,
No, you've got scale mail on right now. That's better. Keep that.
Shouldn't we give it to Lily then?
Isn't Lily
He
small?
likes to be sneaky.
It is for people who do not want to be sneaky.
Correct.
Lily Smith real fast.
Okay, for now we'll set that aside. A tin containing what was
It's
food
a mess kit.
provision?
Yeah,
Mess
think
kit.
like one of those camping kits where all the silverware is
Oh.
folded into each other. And it's got like a
I'll-
pot you can
I'll-
cook in
I'll
and like a
take-
fire starter.
I'll take the cooking kit. I can ensure its use. Who needs money?
I'm pretty sure we all do.
I think Grayson was looking at it first. I think he gets dibs.
Then here you go.
He'll take it and open it up to see what's inside.
Alright, so inside this wooden coffer, there is about 50 gold pieces, about 36 silver pieces, and 12 copper.
Say that one more time. 50 gold,
50 gold
36
pieces,
silver.
36 silver, and 12 copper.
12 copper.
Once we're done going through this stuff, Paige would very gladly like to shove her arm into the bag to see if it does in fact have a bottom.
Okay. So while you guys are counting out the coin to see how much is there, Lily, make a perception check.
Okie dokie.
Lily, you were about to start looking through this book that you were handed, where out of the corner of your eye you see Paige lift up a very nice looking like black velveteen bag and put her hand in it, and then put her arm in it all the way up to the shoulder, and her arm seems to vanish inside the bag as she like feels around groping, and Paige only has one arm now. That's disturbing.
It's a cool magic trick. And she claps that page.
Lucius doesn't look at Paige, but is like, oh god, magic book. Oh, what have I done?
No,
okay.
I think she's referring to what is happening with that bag.
My bag. Lucius then looks over to Paige. He's like, oh my god, did you get what I think you have?
I don't know. Paige is going to pull her arm out and I guess turn the bag upside down over the bed and see if anything comes out.
Oh, things do. In fact, Lily is almost pushed off the bed by the
Oh, no.
sheer avalanche of coins that proceeds to cascade from the
Oh.
open mouth of this
Oh
bag.
dear. Oh dear. Please stop.
It's a magical bag of money.
In total,
Jumps on the bed and screams money.
within the span of seconds, there is roughly 676 gold coins.
Holy.
676 gold coins. 1,393 silver pieces.
What the fuck?
We need to split the 6
How many
ways.
silver? How many silver?
1,393 silver.
Okay.
And about 1,200 copper, give or take.
We gotta split this 6 ways. Let's go.
Paige
and-
just stares at the pile and thinks, I can buy so many tools with this.
And then,
Uh-oh.
more things
No
begin to
monsters,
fall
please.
from the bag.
No,
These
no.
are smaller things. Not gemstones, but they flash pearly almost as they cascade. And you
No.
realize about a hair's breadth before they start covering up the pile of gold that these are teeth.
Right.
Hundreds and thousands of teeth, some with little bits of blood still where the molars come out, are cascading out of the bag, rolling over the bedspread, hitting the floor with little
Paige, stop,
pearly
stop,
tips.
stop. Turn the bag upside down, Paige. Paige, stop. Paige.
Yeah, Paige is gonna go ahead and, swoop.
And as
She's
you
gonna
I
very
didn't know that there was a tooth fay in this area.
She's gonna pinch the bag off, then turn it right side up, and then cautiously open it again.
you see nothing within.
Okay, she's gonna start shoving everything back in the bag.
Not the money, not the money.
Why don't we keep the bag and find somewhere to dump the teeth out so we can then use the bag? Because the bag can come helpful.
Why don't we turn the bag inside out?
Why don't
If
we
that
split
is-
the money between all of us right now in case something happens?
What if
Yes.
we
How
can
do you
sell the
there's no
teeth?
infinite teeth.
And they all who's closest to the teeth? Lucius, Lily, and Paige. Make a perception check.
No.
There's only one way this ends.
With
Like that
me
one
not
scene
seeing
from Harry
anything.
Potter. No, that one scene from Hellboy. There we go.
Paige, you've never been one for dental things, not having any teeth yourself, so you don't notice this. But Lily and Lucius, besides the fact that some of them have more flecks of bloody gum on them than others, it takes very little of a glance to note that these are all the exact same tooth. Not just like the same tooth from somebody else's mouth, the exact same tooth. Over and over and over again, identical. teeth.
This-
From the same mouth, the same one. Continuously.
Does this bag not only hold things but duplicate things?
I'm gonna go
Lucius
ahead and
says
say
out loud
infinite
without
teeth bag.
explaining anything else.
Rather us
I don't
investigate
know.
this in the morning.
Yeah,
I don't know that we can take much more.
Paige is gonna scoop everything back into the bag that's on the bed so the bed is clear for us to sleep on. This is a problem for later us.
Lily's gonna keep a
Don't-
tooth to
don't
look
scoop-
at.
Don't scoop the money in case we can't get it back.
Thank you. I agree with Grayson. Let's split up the money 6 ways now. Especially since Gallon's still asleep.
I'm
Yes,
doing that.
fine.
Alright.
If you want to be greedy, then fine, but get it off the bed.
Lucius immediately starts grabbing the coins and puts it between him and Grayson and said, "Let's start splitting this up."
Oh dear.
That's I'm using a calculator.
I already
I know
started.
who's not
Also,
getting
6
food.
ways. Okay, above game.
Gallon is
Okay.
unconscious. He does not know about anything that's happening. Gallon is unconscious.
Grayson is counting 7 people. Grayson will even gladly split the 50 gold and whatever else he picked up with it.
All right, I already started since I am doing so much for the roleplay aspect.
Split it up between all of us, and we'll see the number then.
Okay, so you guys have already
I know.
accounted for everything in the chest currently.
Yeah, since the chest is empty,
Mhm.
Paige is gonna shove everything off of the bed into the chest so it's not on the bed and people can lay down while they do their thing. There we go.
Oh yeah, all the
Yeah.
money, you shove it in the chest, the people can utilize the bed. Good plan. That way you can
Yeah.
count it easier.
Yeah.
So the only thing that nobody has fully claimed is the crate of torches and candles,
Candle.
although Nocturna has taken a couple of them.
Paige will walk over and grab, like, a few, I don't know, 3 torches.
So
Oh, so
there were 30 torches. Paige has taken 3. Nocturna grabbed, I believe you said 2, Nocturna?
Lucius also took 2.
Lucius took 2. Okay. So that means there are still 23 left.
I will take 4 candlesticks.
Okie doke. There are now 11 candles and 23 torches.
Lily'll take some candles. She'll do what Mina did and take 4.
Okay. There are now 7 candles, 23 torches.
Throw the candles and the torches in the bag.
Alright. Grayson just hucks the rest of the candles and torches into Paige's bag.
If it ain't broke.
They will mingle with the teeth.
teeth
Even though
and torches.
Teethy
Wait.
torches.
I have an idea. Does anyone here have something that's adhesive? Like, okay, I'm just gonna. Is it possible that I can, like, somehow combine these teeth with my mace to, like.
Not making dentures.
make
not then.
Pointy
No, make,
mace.
like, a flangled mace to, like.
Yeah.
Or can I put them on, like, the flat end of my warhammer to give it an extra crunch?
I don't believe any of you currently possess a pot of glue, but if you want to save some teeth until you have an adhesive.
I hate everything about that sentence that you just said. I want you to
Okay, well. I'm gonna save some of the teeth.
You just have no molar fiber.
You're just gonna have to grit and bear it.
I'm gonna go to bed. Good night, guys. It's been great.
Listen, this is a great idea. Okay, so Nocturna just takes a couple handfuls of teeth.
Oh
Puts
dear.
it in his pockets. Okay.
Why do you sound
So
disturbed?
Grace?
hey, wait a minute. If you explain your plan to Paige, I have a thing I can do. I have a feature and a trait that I haven't utilized yet because I keep forgetting, but I'm not gonna forget this time. If we rest, I can infuse items.
Oh
I
my
don't know
God.
if I could use the teeth,
So,
but
Grayson divides all the gold up into 8 piles, and he
8?
hands yes, you'll see what he hands everyone one big pile each, which is 103 gold pieces each, 204 silver pieces each, 173 copper pieces each. He puts Gallon's share on Gallon's chest.
Galen
then
still is
the-
breathing.
the
it next
eighth pile,
to.
the eighth pile. Eighth pile only consists of 5 gold pieces, 1 silver, and 1 copper, and he just pockets that.
Finders
There's no-
Also,
No, no,
unless my
Lucius is
math.
there counting with Grayson.
Okay.
five.
He meant 2 of the.
You cut out, Lewis. I did not hear what you said.
Lucius is there counting with Grayson. He demands 2 of the 5, letting Grayson get the 3.
Fine, he will give him 2 gold pieces out of the 5.
Here.
And now that he's done divvying that up, he goes over to Gallon and kicks him.
No, let him sleep.
You kick him. Go ahead and roll an attack roll.
Oh, no. he's gonna-
Also, so this is what I got dividing it up into loot.
I rolled a 13 on the die. What do I add to that?
Your strength modifier.
That's that's a
Sounds
division
dead.
with.
15.
Does a
Can I
15 hit
prone?
you, Galen?
Yes, and I'm also prone. That's a separation before the 8th pile, by the way.
Okay.
Well,
Oh.
he's. I think Austin was including what he found in the coffer.
Oh,
Yeah.
I didn't include the coffer. My bad.
Alright, so that's just 1 point of damage to Galen, which, since he is at 0, sends him into death
spare the
saving throws
dying.
again.
Spare the dying.
Lucius goes to medicine check. Medicine check.
Apparently, I don't know my own strength. I'm sorry, guys.
He accidentally kicks him in the head.
Wilhelmina, we need Dr. Stat. Someone help him.
Ain't that a kick in the head?
Wilhelmina
Yeah,
rushes over and just
Spare the
places her
dying.
hand to his brow and spares the dying on him as Lucius frantically tries to do a medicine check.
Yeah, realize I am unconscious from damage, not because I'm trying to take a nap.
I know.
Medicine was terrible. He's good. We're losing him.
God.
We're losing him, doctor.
Dude, there you go.
Paige,
Yeah.
Lucius is being very, is being very problematic towards poor Galen. You think he may actually shake him back into death saving throws again if he does any more medicine checks on his person. With that 22, you can tell that that's not helping, not at all. But
in the corner.
Galen
Go
currently
sit in the corner.
sit on your hands.
Yes.
Yeah, Lucius goes into the sea.
Oh man.
Oh god.
Okay.
Hey, I'm not the one that almost killed him.
So,
Accident.
both of you to a corner.
That makes me feel better that it's not just me.
Grayson's just gonna go over to the corner and sit.
All right. So you divided out the loot. You're planning on taking a short rest or a long rest?
Long.
Very
It's-
long. I
Okay.
am so hurt. I have 9 HP out of 22.
Man, I can't
I need
believe.
spells.
Just so you guys know, last session the other group met the mimic and both of the ghasts. The mimic didn't hit a single one of them, and it's a group of 4.
I gotta be.
And the ghasts only got off 1 hit. 1 hit on the
You're
barbarian.
supposed to be the
Dice
serious
didn't
fan.
like
How
us.
can we suck?
Our dice just didn't like us.
I don't know how that
I don't
worked
think
out.
that's it. I don't think it's the dice. I don't think we can blame the dice on this one. Just saying, because I'm in both groups.
Same.
Wow.
No, I'll admit, Nicholas, when I was rolling him just an hour or two ago, was rolling really good, even with the aid of a bless, but still.
True. All right. So
Lucius lies down for a long rest in this tiny little room.
How tall is the bed?
it's about 2.5 to 3 feet off the ground. It's on a wooden platform. The mattress isn't that thick though.
Okay, can I go under the bed?
No, it's just on a wooden platform, like a solid one. No underneath.
Okay, then never mind.
exists.
Under the bed? What kind of boogeyman?
Yeah, it's like on a pallet, like a raised
Okay.
sort of pallet, so that it wouldn't be in the damp. That being
Lucius
said, the
sticks his
sheets
head
do
out
still
and is
smell
like,
kind of moldy.
Women take the bed, men sleep on the floor.
Sleep.
Speaking of, is anybody going to be keeping watch during this rest?
Well, Paige, right? 'Cause
I
Paige doesn't
can.
sleep.
Although
No, just leave the unconscious one to do it. Might as well.
You just leave
Grayson-
him laying there next to the gas.
Paige will keep watch to make minor repairs and to create a magic item because I really want to.
Okay. All right.
Before we rest, can Nocturna just explain why he's taking the teeth?
Sure.
Oh god.
you're like reluctant, like I'm gonna have to.
No,
All right,
Come on, do it in character voice too. I want to hear this.
Oh, I will. So, as he's shoving it like 3 handfuls of molars into his pocket, he shiftily looks up. I'm gonna
Everybody's
grab
just
them to my
staring at
weapon to give. You're making this awkward. like,
Oh yeah, we're making this awkward.
Yeah.
So he's shoving these handful of molars in his pocket. Gonna graft them to my weapon. Wait, that's not. I can't.
Could have grafted him to my weapon, given a bit of bite, yeah.
I'm gonna graft him. I can't do it. I just can't.
It's okay. We all have performance issues sometimes. Paige.
It is the land down under.
Oh god!
Okay, Paige obviously took a level in Bard. God damn!
Paige is gonna stare at him, look at the teeth, and then look back at him and say, I can make something better.
Halfway putting into another, like a 4th handful into his pocket, he looks up at Paige. Some of the teeth fall out of his hand and spill out of his pocket. What do you mean?
I don't want to, but I can make something better.
With the teeth?
She pinches the bridge of her nose, her porcelain nose, and she says, with the teeth.
Okay, Nocturna's gonna stride across the room towards Paige and just empty out his pocket of teeth.
Oh god.
She's never seemed grossed out by anything, and she doesn't seem grossed out now, but she looks like she really doesn't want to touch the teeth. So she kind of just motions to a spot on the floor, she just points.
Nocturna just puts the teeth down, they spill out like Skittles in a commercial. Okay.
Lucius like lies down and turns away because he does not want to hear or be a part of this at all.
Paige is gonna sit down and to start taking out components from her chest cavity and that weird fucking thing she does, and she just says, "You owe me."
Nocturna takes a step back. I've kept this group alive. And he's gonna go. Can I lift the ghoul over the barricade or ghast and throw it aside, or is it too heavy?
You can do that. And
Do I need to roll?
No, it's basically skin and bones and rotting flesh. You also don't have to make a Constitution save thanks to Wilhelmina making it smell better.
Hello.
Good point. Otherwise, we could have left Gallon there. So I'm just gonna yeet it over the barricade into the next room.
Alright, and while all of this nonsense has been going on, Lily has just been sitting quietly over on the bed trying to look at the book. So, Lily, when you first opened up the book, you noticed that there was a lot of writing that you did not quite understand. There was a lot of arcane symbols, and it looks like it might be a spell book of some sort, because you recognize a lot of these things are kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? A lot of these spells that you see, a lot of these things that you see look like they are spells that you could cast if you were of the correct proclivities. Of the spells that you currently see inside the book, though, the only one that you recognize offhand is Disguise Self and Invisibility. But there are several more pages of them, in fact.
Ooh, I want to learn these. She's gonna read them.
She can read them, but since you are not a wizard, you cannot learn them in that fashion.
Billy's still gonna try.
You can definitely try.
She can do whatever she sets her mind to. Just may take a long time.
And
You
some
know,
tea.
Tries to cast one of the spells she's not able to cast. She just summons a room full of turnips. People have to make Constitution saving throws.
Better than a room full of teeth.
Actually, though.
Maybe.
Physical, natural.
What, guys, what if the turnips had teeth?
No.
I mean, we can make that happen if we have a room full of or if we have a room full of
dear.
teeth. We can combine.
Oh god. Anywho, Lily's trying to read a spell book. Paige is reluctantly trying to fashion teeth into something. Grayson's sort of meditating in a corner. Nocturnus slumped against the barrier, kind of taking his rest. Gallon is still sprawled out on the floor, and Lucius has sequestered himself inside a hole in the wall, possibly to lay on his riches, as dragons will. Alright, and Paige, you said you're going to be taking the first watch?
Wait, does the lizard boy not have a bedroll?
Wait, my litter boy? I think I
Lizard
have
boy.
one. I have one.
Then use the bedroll.
But it's money.
Just got a +1 AC pillow.
True.
The best pillow I've ever had that gives me AC +1.
It also gives you saving throws +1 while you're wearing it.
Oh, hell yeah. I should have put this on Gallon.
Well, it's too late now. At least until he's awake.
Yeah, it's too late now. I'm fine with this. Lucius is very comfortable on his money and cloak pillow.
Hey, we're honestly pretty rich now.
That means nothing if we cannot get out of this place.
Hey, I'm rich. I'm rich in enamel.
So, Paige, Lily, and Wilhelmina, all three of you know this, but shit's expensive in Barovia, so you are middle class at best right now.
That's a lot better than what Lily was.
True.
So.
Also, I don't forget. Was it just the ghost kids, or is everybody racist? So I need the cloak to help hide my face from the racists.
Why don't you use one of the robes that would hide your entire body and give the cloak to someone who needs it more?
Because I get the feeling
To be fair,
a dark black cultist robe might not go over well.
Oh, that's true.
also, to be fair, the only one who knows the cloak is really awesome is currently Lucius, who's in possession of it. Unless he's
That is
told the rest of you, none of you
Which
know that
he
it's
is not.
anything more than a nice pillow-like cloak.
Yeah, no, so far he just seems really ecstatic over a normal fucking pillow. And it's
He hasn't even
I've
told
been
his
sleeping
husband.
on like very weird things, so
Alright.
I'm just happy.
So Paige has rolled an 11 in perception as the rest of you settle down to start the beginnings of a long rest. Paige, you spend a majority of your time working through the item that you were trying to create for Nocturna. But once, sorry.
Speaking of, I have that written in my profile somewhere. If you I can't see that through the app.
Okie dokie. Hold on, let me pull it up for you.
I remember I know 4 things and I can make 2 things. I don't know what those 2 things are.
I don't think you finished typing it out. You did not finish
Shit.
typing it out.
Damn it.
Oh wait, no, it was in the bio part. Never mind.
Okay.
Okay, artificers have invented numerous magical infusions. You know 4 infusions, and you can infuse 2 items. You can create a magical item. You can create an arm blade. You can create a prosthetic limb. So you can make the teeth magic. You can make them into an arm blade, or you can make them into a prosthetic limb.
What's the 4th one that she can do?
You know what?
You have yes and no next to these things, and you have no next to everything except for arm blade and prosthetic limb.
Yeah.
You could also make. You could choose 2 more because it says you should be able to know 4. So you could do alchemy jug, bag of holding, cap of water breathing, goggles of night, lantern of revealing, rope of climbing, sending stones, wand of magic detection, wand of secrets. Are you gonna make the teeth into sending stones?
I wasn't. No, actually, what I want to do.
Talk to the teeth.
Do you need a list? So I can share a list in Discord.
I sent it to her.
You said I could make them. You said I could make the teeth magic. That's where my brain is stuck on right now. Okay. What I want to do is make the teeth holy and make them into like holy studs, so we can stud his fucking weapon and make it like holy back.
Oh yes.
Okie dokie.
That's amazing.
You make the teeth. You infuse the teeth with magic, so you can make it a plus.
Radiant.
Yeah, radiant. You infuse the teeth with radiant magic to make them +1 teeth that you stud into his mace.
Yep.
That you
She's just gonna snatch it from him in his sleep and just start working on it. And
he has weapons now.
Well, it's not a constant, if I remember correctly. I believe you have to redo it every day, correct?
Actually, I think it is constant until they make a new infusion.
Oh yeah, that's correct. So you can have 2 infusions active at once. But if you make a 3rd one, one of the old ones will go. So right now, you have a +1 tooth mace.
Yep, and bear in mind they are teeth, so I assume you can only make so many attacks with these, like maybe smash once, rotate, before they get smashed and are useless. So it's a flashy weapon and it's a useful weapon, but for how many hits?
Would you say that doing this you'd be grinding your teeth?
Someone just leave.
Was that you, Luis?
I'd like to take 3 points of psychic damage.
He's just my new hero. Relationship ended with Lucius.
Okay.
Oh, come on. Give me a smile.
In all seriousness, she makes him a fanged mace of radiant damage. There we go. Give it a fancy name.
That is awesome.
This is going to function as a magic weapon for as long as the... Sorry, my brain died. This is going to function as a magic weapon for as long as the infusion is active. It acts like a +1 mace would in terms of attacking. And it will also have +1 radiant damage added on to any damage that you deal.
Huh?
Of course, if something is, what's the word I'm looking for? Vulnerable to radiant damage, it may be doubled.
You're saying if I cast Sacred Flame, then I.
No,
So-
I'm saying if you hit people with your fanged mace, it's a magic weapon, so it's +1 to hit, and it's also +1 radiant damage to your damage from the mace.
You're more
And-
likely to hit and more likely to.
And if they're undead people that you're hitting with your mace, it'll do more radiant damage.
Absolutely beautiful.
And then I can only make the one item, right?
It says you can do 2 infusions at this. You can have 2 infusions active at the same time. You can know 4, and you can have 2 active.
Well, in that case, yes, I will be most horrifyingly turning the rest of the teeth into sending stones. Everybody gets one.
Excellent. So
I wasn't gonna do that, but thank you for the inspiration.
you're welcome. So
Like, does Lily still have one of the teeth?
Yes.
Okay, because there's something I wanted to try and play with later.
I mean,
everybody will have a
if
tooth
somebody
now.
happens, if
You
somebody
get a
happens
tooth. You
to
get a
have-
tooth.
Well, look, just take out one of your teeth, replace it with one of these teeth, and you're always talking to us. It's always.
Oh no.
We're always connected.
Hey, Aaron.
Yeah.
Remember how you were so sure we were going to be out of this house by the end of this session?
I'm kind of glad you aren't because I didn't finish the Burgermaster's house map.
But this entire week, you're like, oh, you guys are going to be done with the Death House.
That's what I
this
said last
session.
week too.
But an hour, and we haven't even done our long
Nope.
rest yet.
Nope. Also,
Okay, yeah, we're done. We're done. Okay.
hold on.
thanks,
No,
thanks.
we're not. No, wait. Because
Oh.
I know, right? No, I have to take the chainmail because I didn't know that I could handle medium, and that's better, and I can make it better too.
It's not chainmail.
So
It's not chainmail. Just so you know, it's a chain shirt. Chain shirt.
Is that better, Kathy?
No, scale mail's better, and then with your infusion, your scale mail's better than.
Mhm.
Okay, then never mind. All right. I don't know how things work, so cool. All
It's
right,
cool.
now I'm done. Bye.
Even if none of you use it, you can always sell it later.
I put it in your bag, Mina.
I know.
Okay,
Oh my
sounds
god.
good.
Biggest scam of the century. We infuse it first, sell it as a magical item, and then take the infusion back later.
Oh my god. You could do that with so many things.
We just probably won't be able to sell too much to that merchant because they're probably going to pick up on it.
Yeah, I mean, fair.
Do you remember my artificer from that one shot? I think he had the exact same idea.
Oh my god. Alright. Focus, people. Long rest. You rolled 11 for perception. You made him a fanged mace, and you made sending stones out of teeth and distributed them to the party. Is anybody else doing anything before they settle down for the actual rest part?
I am getting ink.
You
I'm
are,
making my ink during my long rest.
you're making your ink during your long rest. Okay, cool. Alright, you do that. And, Wilhelmina, were you trying to infuse some objects for your own artificer?
Where the fuck?
Wilhelmina?
Lindsay, you're muted.
Lindsay?
Okay, Lindsay disappeared. She went to bed.
She might be being attacked by a cat or something. Okay,
That
come
is
back
true.
to that.
Cats to be jerks sometimes.
Grayson, are you doing anything before you do your meditation?
Nah, he's just gonna meditate for his 4 hours and then join Paige and watch.
Excellent. Gallon is unfreaking conscious. Lucius, anything before you have good sleepy time. Also, don't blow into the microphone. I know you're just simulating snoring, but it is murdering my ears.
Sorry.
It's okay, babe.
Lucius wants to do something at the bag, but after he wakes up, he's very tired and very hurt.
Okay, well, you don't have the bag. Paige does.
I know. So when I wake up, I have to go ask Paige for the bag.
Okie dokie. Alrighty. And Nocturna, you gave the teeth over to Paige to do her thing. Are you sleeping or are you doing anything else before you sleep?
Can you take a second to pray to his god about his opinion on the teeth mace idea?
Yes, he can.
Lily's gonna say hi to Herman for a second before she goes to bed.
Alrighty. If you guys want to DM me whatever you say to your respective deities, And I will go from there. Okay. So the next 4 hours passed fairly uneventfully. You are only able to pay moderate attention during this time as you're working on your tooth infusions page, but you don't see any shadows pass over your barrier. You don't hear any worrisome noises from further up along the pathways, besides the steady drip of water somewhere far away. And occasionally those incoherent whispers that none of you have been able to decipher. Your 4 hours passes relatively quickly, and then Grayson kind of shakes himself into more alertness. He was never really asleep, but he was sort of kind of sitting in quiet meditation with his head lowered and his eyes shut. And now he's ready to take up the watch, so you two can sort of go into standby mode and get your quote unquote rest.
Yep. As the switching of the guards, as it is happens, Paige takes up, that goes to basically where the wardrobe is and just kind of stands there and, standby mode and listens and is ready to smash if something tries to come through. Oh yeah, she does hand him a tooth for no apparent reason, but then, she talks to him through the tooth and says, "Don't lose this."
Oh, okay. And he puts it in his pocket.
No explanation given either. Have fun.
And yeah, he'll move over to the blockade and stand guard.
Lily's curled up on the pillows.
Miss Mia,
Alrighty. Go ahead and roll me a perception check there for me, Grayson. Sorry, I'm responding to God prayers.
Perception.
I'm so glad I picked a cleric.
You're never alone when you're with your god.
God, I am God.
I know a certain relevant somebody who would take offense to that.
The God.
Hmm. Maybe.
At least we don't have a paladin in our group. I started sweating.
Oh man. Other group and their fucking senses. That was so funny. Anywho, 9 perception. Okay. So, Grayson, you kind of peer out beyond the wardrobe that you all have kind of dragged over to this little step down area and kind of look upwards, seeing what's going on there. And you don't see anything worrisome, but you could swear that you hear shuffling from somewhere down the passage. And
He
then
pulls out his heavy crossbow.
it doesn't seem to be coming towards you at all, but there's the sound of wet, almost dragging shuffling, as though somebody is trying to struggle to haul the thick slab of oozing meat across jagged stonework. And then you hear the wet, carnal sounds of chewing and ripping as though meat is being severed from bone, and then the crack of said bone snapping and the slurp of marrow being suckled from within. And then there's an abrupt yelp, and all is silent once more.
That was disturbing. Make note that something out there is eating things.
The rest of your watch passes uneventfully, save for the growing air of insistent dread you feel is pressing in upon you, as though time is running out. In fact, the rest of you feel it too, and awake abruptly at the end of your rest as a tremor runs through the underground, shaking dust free of molding and causing small pebbles to cascade down and bounce along the floor and bed. And accompanying it moments later is a low, gurgle moan that echoes through the passages.
What is that?
That does not sound pleasant.
We sensed that as we woke up.
Mm-hmm. It's what woke you. Also, you now all have a long rest, and you may gain all of your hit points and spell slots back.
Lucius pokes his head out and looks down at Gal like, "Hey, bud, sleepyhead."
What the fuck happened?
Helen also has a mound of
Coins on his chest.
coins on his chest.
As he's like just like sitting up and they kind of just fall like to his side, like what?
We found money and teeth.
Oh.
Yeah. So a few things happened as Paige walks over. A, she kind of sticks her foot out to stop the coins from rolling all over the place. B, she goes to scoop the rest of the coins off onto the ground and help him up. And 3, she passes him a tooth and just says nothing, but just says keep it.
The tooth. I need a tooth. There's something I want to check out. Paige, I need the bag.
Okay.
What did I miss?
Lots of teeth.
Paige will hand him the bag briefly and then just start to everybody, making just with a note of either keep it or don't lose this or don't mix it up with the other ones.
When Lily said lots of teeth, you notice Gallon is like checking his mouth to make sure like all of his are still in his mouth.
Hold on. I'm gonna have like a deception roll. I'm gonna try to lie to Alan saying, "Yep, that's where the coins came from. Is the tooth fairy came."
Roll a perception check, Gallon. Or I guess this would be investigation technically, since you're feeling around your mouth.
Oh
God.
my
Hold on, let me
god.
roll
Oh
deception
no. Investigation.
Not deception, Lewis. I said Gallon needs to roll
I just
investigation.
realized I pulled out my die for this, but it's too late. I rolled.
Okay. Well,
I was telling Gallon
I
that
don't know
you
where
have the
my
coin.
mouth is apparently.
yeah, you're still kind of groggy. You kind of go to try to feel your mouth, and you kind of hit yourself in the nose.
Yeah, well, aren't you so happy that the tooth fairy came by after the gas knocked all your teeth out?
Sure.
I don't know,
Clearly
you
we
can't feel your
defeated
teeth,
them.
can you?
I'm still
They
waking
were
up.
defeated.
Anyways. He's looking down, still reeling from the battle. That's the last thing he remembered, and sees that his clothes are completely like ripped to shreds on the front side. Like, can anyone do me a favor and mend this shit?
and then pick up your share of the gold. There was quite a sum, Paige says. She then goes to move the wardrobe out of the way so they can leave.
And he'll start collecting his gold. I don't know if anyone offers to mend his clothing, or he'll just be in ripped vests and coats.
I think only Wilhelmina has mending.
Yeah.
No, she just has prestidigitation.
For some reason, I thought we had someone with mending, but if not, never mind.
No, all I can do is clean stuff. Sorry.
Never mind.
Yeah, I thought somebody had mending. Don't you have mending?
Oh wait, yeah, I do. Duh. I'm the one with mending.
You look
That's why
around
everyone
looking for the
ignored
person
you,
who has
'cause
mending.
you're like, you're the one with
and did you
mending,
remember? Oh yeah, that's fucking me. I've got mending.
Sorry, I got hit in the head.
And with a 16,
It's just like, it's alright, buddy. It's alright. Take as long as you need.
with a 16, you easily move the wardrobe back into its previous position, clearing the way.
Oh, right. Because I rested, do I get my strength back? I made a note in my
yes,
thing.
that's correct. Anybody who was suffering from the gas
Take strength negative?
issue.
I don't think so.
Anybody who was suffering from the
I
gas
think that was
issue
me.
of reducing your strength is returned to what it was previous to this.
Yeah, my strength should be
how do I fix
15,
that?
but I don't know how to do that in the app.
Your strength should be 16, you said?
I think
15.
mine too.
15. Okay, I'll move it.
I think mine's 16. I cannot remember.
I told you people to write it down.
I wrote it somewhere.
Oh wait, I think mine was reduced too.
There's
I
a
wrote
note
mine in my
section
inventory
in
because
under bio in your character sheet. Use it. It's helpful.
It is.
Yeah.
I remember. I could have sworn I had to do the same thing, but Gallon didn't get hit with any of those shades, so I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. So
Somewhere. I can't find it.
14. Okay, I'm good.
We all have characters in D&D Beyond. It should still be there if you haven't been actively updating that.
Mm-hmm.
Nocturna, you had -3 strength.
Yeah, so it's back to 14 from 11.
Yeah.
Does it say mine?
Grayson
Let
had
me
-1. I'm
take a
looking through to
look.
see.
No, you are not in D&D Beyond, Lewis.
Just wait a minute. Kathy's going back through the notes.
But yeah, do I move the thing? Yeah, I hope I do. Yeah.
Alrighty, so Kathy will find that in a second because she's better at searching things than I am.
Grayson, you lost 1, the 1 hit, and then lost 4, another hit. Lucy, no, I'm not seeing it yet. Give me a second. I'm looking back.
And we are getting that back?
Yes.
Correct?
Mm-hmm.
You're getting that back.
Okay. So I'm back
Because
at
he was
15 then. Because I had gone
I was
down to
just looking through my inventory and my treasure and stuff, and I noticed that I had a note there that said my strength 15 under treasure.
Excellent.
Lucy lost 3 strength. With that attack. Jeannie lost 4 strength.
Okay.
And
Nice.
pass Ball of Doom. And I think that
Ball of Doom would be the start of things because when you touched it is when the wraith, the shadows.
no, you passed it. You rolled it across the floor. I was at that part. Nope. I think that's it. Yep.
Okay, so Lucius lost 3. You said.
Mm-hmm.
I just put it back.
Okay, cool.
After she said it.
Alrighty, then we are back in the saddle again. What are you guys doing?
Okay, so Lucius wants to.
Can I listen?
Oh yeah, Lucius is gonna do something back.
Hey, what happened?
Can I listen to the noise that woke us?
Well, the noise has gone. You can listen to see if you can hear anything else.
Okay.
Though.
Okay, sure.
Perception.
Perception.
Yeah. Mhm.
Lucius is ignoring that, and he's doing science right now. He goes to Lily. He's like, "Do you have some of the teeth?" As he pulls out the bag, he puts. I think he grabs 2 of the teeth himself.
Mm-hmm.
So he's gonna put one of the teeth in the bag, and he explains to Lily, "I don't. All of the teeth were the same. So instead of just a bag of holding, which I think this might be like a bag of like duplication, maybe."
If I
So
put a tooth in there, it'll make 2 teeth.
maybe, which means that we might be able to double all of our money.
That would be cool.
We
If
can
I
really
may.
mess up the economy.
I don't know what that means.
If I may, there are still teeth in the bag. I didn't allow all of them to come out of the bag. Perhaps place a different item in the bag for a different thing to identify.
Maybe we can put the teeth on the bed now that we're done with it.
I'm gonna clone my teeth, Mace.
We
Rob,
need
you're blowing
something.
into the mic really hard.
You know what? I'm gonna see if I can fit a torch in there. Can I fit a torch in the bag?
Didn't we throw candles in?
We threw torches and
Already?
candles in the bag. Yep.
I need something unique.
A
The
copper
potion?
piece from your own pocket,
There's a candlestick in this thingy.
You did
Is
also
that-
put candlestick is different than candle.
or a pillow off the bed.
A cloak?
Make a scratch in a coin and put it in there. If 2 coins come out with the same scratch on it, then it is confirmed.
can
Lucius
draw
is
on a
gonna do that.
rock.
He's gonna take one of his copper pieces, so he'll be at 170 instead of 171. He'll scratch it,
Cool.
and then he'll put it in the bag.
Lily's gonna draw something on a rock and put a rock in the bag.
Okay. You put both of these items in the bag. They vanish into the blackness of the interior.
Is the rock's name Rocco?
Oh.
Rocks don't have a name.
Rob, please draw the microphone away from your mouth. I love you, but please.
I can't. I'm sorry, I can't. I don't know why this is a new problem.
Me either. But anywho, while you two are doing that, Wilhelmina is trying to make a perception check, and she listens down the hallway, very intently with a 19. She can't hear any more groans or rumbling or anything like that, but you do hear that same incoherent whispering you've all been able to hear the whole time you're down here.
Thanks.
Lucius puts his hand in the bag trying to get a rock.
Okay, you put the hand in the bag, you think about a rock, and you feel something smooth and round in some places and pointy in others in your hand. You draw it out, and it's a rock with a face that Lily has drawn on it.
Only one? Can I give it back to Lily and try to fish for the same rock again?
So you reach your hand into the bag again, you think about the rock, nothing comes to your palm.
I guess it is just a bag of holding. Which
Good,
means the
then.
teeth were
Give it
really
here.
white.
Is
Lily
your bag
puts the
still
rock back in.
Is your hand still in the bag when you think about teeth?
No, no, it is not.
Maybe it's a bag of holding, but it's cursed with teeth.
Please hand the bag back, Paige says as she walks over to try and take it back.
We could always draw on
Give me
someone in
1
teeth
second.
later.
I just want to see if there's a weapon inside that we could use. Lucius puts his hand in the bag and thinks of a weapon.
What weapon do you think of?
Sword.
If I was to recommend something, I would go to a larger location and see if we can get more out of it.
That is what I plan when he decides he wants to give it back.
Yeah, this bag was kind of a mouthful.
Ugh.
Can I try
Let's
and see if I can find something in it?
I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to go to it later. I have to give Paige back the bag.
Oh, okay.
Alright, when you reached in there and thought about the sword there, nothing happened.
I wanted to see if they had any books.
Maybe later,
don't
next time we
find
take
out.
a rest. How's that sound?
Okay.
I know we need to go, but before we take a rest, just in case we do and other things, Paige is gonna go over here and dump the rest of the teeth out into this room.
Alright, so you turn the bag upside down. The first thing that falls out is a single copper coin with a scratch on the side, and then teeth. Hundreds and hundreds of teeth. They just keep sliving out of the bag. Just a never ending stream of teeth. Teeth. Covering up the floor inside that hole right there and starting to climb up to the walls. Just teeth everywhere. Just and it's so full now that if Lily were to stand in there, it would be at her chest height at this point, and they're still coming. Over.
Can Lucius do a perception check to see if it's all the same tooth like before?
Go ahead.
Okay. Paige is going to again pinch it off and turn it up right side up. And we're not gonna try for the teeth thing anymore. There's just teeth. It's fine.
You're not
Grayson's gonna. Go ahead.
You're not sure, Lou. You're not sure, Lucius. It kind of looks like it.
Grayson's gonna do our Arcana check to see if he can figure out why teeth keep coming.
I don't know, but Paige, she stops the flow of teeth and she's going to leave. She's had enough.
So Grayson, you do an Arcana check. You just kind of look at the bag as Paige is busily like tying it back up again, stopping the teeth, and you, with a 12, you're not really sure why there's so many teeth. It's a bag of holding, and just, I mean, they kind of just are almost bottomless in a way, but not really. They do have like an end point to them in most cases, but this one seems to have endless capacity for teeth.
We could use this. We could sell these teeth to peasants that don't have teeth.
I mean,
That was my
yes.
thoughts exactly.
God.
Do you
I
see
mean,
how
Lily
yellow and
could
rotten some of them
also-
are?
Lily could also,
Beggars can't be choosers.
spider climb onto a ceiling and just empty the bag of teeth onto an enemy.
You don't know that I can spider climb though.
Fucking hell.
Wait,
Fucking hell, Austin.
well,
But
no,
Grayson
who knows
doesn't know
that
I
Lily
can spider climb. He never saw it.
I like how we're still adding
That's
dots to
true.
the teeth pit.
There's a lot of teeth in there.
There were hundreds before he got pinched off.
I have an
Thousands
idea.
now.
Yellow when they're supposed to be the exact same tooth.
At
Nocturna
different
turns,
stages of decay.
Correct.
Nocturna turns to Paige, looks at her, and then he remembers the well. Can we go dump all these teeth in the well?
No, no, no.
God.
I argue against that wholeheartedly.
Didn't we try to save that person?
Yes, no.
Tried and failed.
God, it is so hard to move on mobile.
I
Like
can
every
move you.
please,
I don't even know how, so hey.
I'm trying so hard. But every other time I grab Paige to move her, I like make the screen bigger and smaller, and I hate it.
Yeah, I don't know. Usually the 2 fingers is what makes it bigger or smaller.
I know, but I'm only using the one finger. I don't understand.
Let's continue.
Alrighty.
Oh.
There's some fog of war in front of us.
Hold up 1 second.
It's a door Lucius has.
Grayson goes, remember guys, we are turning left, not right, otherwise you might die.
And Lily
Left.
holds up her hands and like an L and a J and is looking and is trying to remember which way's left and which way's right.
Did I defog you? Can you see now?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Paige looks at Lily and kind of gestures, facing away from Lily, but she still gestures with her hands like lifted so she can see. This is left. This is right.
Okie dokie. And we're going
Left.
left.
Alright, one moment.
Oh, I almost forgot to say this, but Gowan would have casted Mage Armor.
Where am I? Oh.
And Lily too. Good call.
I nearly forgot that, but he would have grabbed his leather strap that he uses, ties it up on a strap to the satchel he has over his chest, and with that casts Mage Armor. Because that was a mistake last time. Well, not really. Every attack that hit me was over my Mage Armor AC anyways, but still.
Yeah, also, while we're all gathered here, the reason I've gathered you here today, she finally explains that the special teeth she gave them are, in fact, sending stones. And if we need them, use them. No more yelling.
Got it.
If
Don't
people
worry.
don't know what sending stones are, she would explain.
Intriguing. Very macabre design, but it's functional.
I appreciate the effort.
Aaron, I have a question.
Yep.
Can I use the teeth as a magic rock?
Yes. Yes, you can.
Okay, cool. Endless
Gross.
ammo.
I think this entire session.
Not wrong.
Well, why is teeth our new
Also-
specialty?
In fact,
Aaron, you did this.
in fact, I would say that if you got a blowgun at any point, you could have increased range to your quote-unquote magic rocks by utilizing the blowgun.
No, don't put your mouth anywhere near the teeth.
Just
My teeth
handfuls of
belong in
slingshotted
mouths.
teeth.
My shiny teeth and me.
Oh, also, after Paige dumps all the teeth in that hole, Lily does grab like a handful before they run out. I'm just gonna put that in my bag.
That song made me think of "You're never fully dressed without a smile."
All right. And
God, that musical
as you
haunts me to
guys
this day.
get about there, that incoherent sort of
Oh.
babbling. Oh, Paige glitched through the map. God damn it, Paige.
I'm sorry.
As you get about
Thank you.
there, that incoherent babbling that you've been hearing this entire time, that sort of undercurrent of spoken word, starts to crystallize, starts to come a little bit more firm. There are many voices speaking, not always in concert with one another. At first, it's hard to draw the words out and figure out exactly what's being said and when. But you hear a multitude of voices whispering over and under one another. He is the life, one must die. He is the land, one must die. He is everywhere, one must die. One must die. One must die. One must die.
Lucius puts his finger on his nose and says, "Not it."
Alrighty,
Grayson
one
kind of goes,
moment.
shh, and then goes into stealth.
Do 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 do. One moment, please. As I set up the next part of your screen. Arrange yourself as needed.
Paige is next to Lily as usual.
The hell are we on this map?
Top left
I'm
corner.
said
Oh, there it is.
in the middle to back.
Ah, there we
Hello,
go.
darkness, my old friend.
Come to share my teeth with you.
I saw
Teeth
you
again.
softly chattering.
You're gonna put
Like
dentists out of
teeth.
business. Dental wizards hate them. Learn how you two can have an unlimited supply of molars.
Did
To be
No, these
fair,
aren't molars. These are like the fang part,
This
like the canine.
is me. Never mind.
what?
It's already passed. I wasn't thinking or paying attention.
Okay.
So, disregard.
Disregarding.
Alright. Are we going? We're going up, right?
Down. You're going down.
So
But the direction on the screen is up, but we are going down.
Lewis, if you put on your cloak, don't forget to add it to your character sheet.
Oh, I already did.
Okay.
Damn.
Okie dokie. As you descend into the darkness, the echoing swirls of whispers surrounding you and filling your ears and possibly your mind, you find that the steps are getting slicker. A thick, viscous coating of algae and other green mossy substrate covering the tiles and leaking from the crevices. The walls drip with a moisture even the catacombs above had not carried, and you find yourself occasionally stepping in small, thin, brackish puddles with a soft, muted splash. You find it a little bit taxing to keep your footing in so slick a surface, but manage it nonetheless as you descend deeper into the bowels of the earth, the chill of it rising up to envelope those of you who still have senses left to feel the cold. It is dark here. There are no more lights, except for those that you carry with you. Those of you who do not have dark vision will need either a torch or lantern in order to see at this point.
Intern.
A
Thank
shrike
God
of a
most of us
torch.
have dark vision.
Wilhelmina, you open up your new lantern and you light it. And you find that it has a nice movable flap that allows you to position the light to shine out in a sort of cone or bullseye directly in front of you to be able to see things without alerting other things to your presence by having a circular beam of light surrounding the entire party.
Fancy.
So it's a hooded lantern, or does it actually shape
bullseye
like
lantern.
or does it actually shape like the target symbol?
A
Or
bullseye
logo.
lantern sort of does a cone in front of you.
Okay. I thought those were just hooded lanterns, but okay.
Sort of. Bullseye lanterns are a little bit more contracted in their beam, and it's a lot easier to manipulate exactly where you want it to shine.
Ah, okay.
I imagine a hooded lantern is just a hooded lantern, but a bullseye lantern has some sort of refraction lens to like really shoot that sucker out there.
Mm-hmm. Basically, it's almost like a light-based laser.
Lasers. I got
Laser
orders.
beams.
And anybody who is trying to see what's up ahead can go ahead and make perception checks for me.
I did, and I
Dark
don't think there's a-
vision.
I don't remember if I have dark vision or not. I don't think I do.
You do not.
Beautiful. So I'll strike up a torch and low perception.
All right.
Where the hell's perception?
It's hiding
In
from
the
you.
P area.
I mean,
And
technically, you know, not
stay very
wrong.
quietly while everybody is still gathered in relatively the same
Charisma,
area.
wisdom,
I
intelligence.
think this is our group's highest perception.
What did you say, Paige?
Paige, while everybody's still relatively gathered, so she doesn't have to speak up, would say, remember to use your stones if you feel you cannot speak freely in a place like this. But
I mean
remember,
teeth.
you can only use your stone once per dawn. So make sure it counts.
Grayson's gonna kind of recommend that everyone go stealthy.
Yeah, that's pretty much the vibe Paige is given, because, the whispers were pretty ominous. You know, one has to die, one has to die. No, I don't want anybody to die, so, be careful.
Mm.
Well, is Paige technically alive?
Hey, don't do that.
That is
Don't do that. We're
racist
not
against
having that
automatons.
existential
Thank you.
robot thing. Paige is alive.
Whoa.
I mean, we have dolls too, so.
Listen, is it racist if I can't shapeshift into it? No. I'm kidding.
Oh my god. Okay.
I have
Anywho,
feelings. I'm very vibrant, okay?
with the combined perception checks of all involved, as you kind of creep forward, listening intently, the soft sloshing of water reaches your ears. You don't hear any footfalls or other sounds besides the heavy whispers that fill and echo down the chambers, bouncing off the walls and gouged holes carved out of the walls of this catacomb that you are in. But the trickle of wetness and the sloshing lap of wavelets is very prominent in this underground area. And those of you who do have dark vision, as you step into this large pillared room, do note the reflection of a water-like surface down the tunnel to the south on the right-hand side. As you step into this room, several of you notice that there are alcoves carved out of the walls. Whether by hand or by tool, it is very hard to say, as they are broken into the rock and scooped out. Several bits of rubble and ground still clumped around the corners of this room. In the very center of the room is a small black puddle of sludge-like water, and you observe a single drop fall from below to break the surface tension, sending tiny ripples throughout the almost pudding-like texture of the wetness. The pillars here are carved from time and age, the water trickling down them in thick rivulets to dampen the floor all around. In some of the alcoves here, you notice that there are small bundles or items, although it would take closer inspection to see what exactly each of them holds.
Well, Paige is right next to one, so she's gonna extendo neck her way over there and investigate.
Grayson will get out of your way.
Oh yeah, no, her body doesn't move, her neck just extends, like, and you see her head just, like, waft past you and peer around the corner into the thing.
So inside this particular alcove, you find a small wooden box stamped with what looks to be a carved eye on top of it.
I feel like my next wisest act is to figure out if that's cursed or not.
I mean, we can always just shove it in the magic bag and sort it all out later.
You don't, with a 15 Arcana, you don't feel any magic from it currently.
I'd like to keep it that way. She ain't touching it. I can't move.
Where would you like?
Lily wants to look in this one.
All right, Lily, you stand on tiptoe, peering into the hole that is gouged from the wall. There are several deep furrows that look like they were definitely made by fingers at one point. Within this alcove, you find, sitting on a scrap of what must have once been supremely lovely velveteen material and is now moldering and disintegrating in places. A finely carved dagger that appears to be made of either ivory or perhaps bone.
Hey, there's a dagger in here. Should I get it?
I'll try to get
I,
it just in case. It's gonna be your dagger, but I'm gonna get it just in case because I don't trust that hole.
Okay.
it's a trap.
Could I take a look at, or a look to see if there's anything weird about this dagger? Kind of getting the same vibes as Paige.
Alrighty. So, Lucius, you reach in to grasp the dagger as Galen, you peer at it. Go ahead and roll me an Arcana check, Galen, if you like.
Oh, thank God! I thought I was gonna lose a hand.
That is a total of 14.
You don't feel anything magical about the dagger. Lucius, your hands close over the handle of the dagger and you draw it forth. You notice the blade is keen and sharp as the day that it was forged, and it is definitely made of bone. You can tell just by the way it rests within your palm. Do a survival check for me, Lucius.
Survival. That's some pretty good surviving.
Lucius, this bone is familiar to you. You've seen quite a few of them in the rooms above, actually, and even held one briefly this past few days. This is a human bone this dagger was carved from.
Oh, this is pretty badass.
Grayson, were you looking in that alcove there?
Yes, this one here.
Okay, let's see.
I would like to give the dagger to Lily, and I tell her that it's a human bone that it's made out of.
Oh, we got teeth, and now we got bones. And money.
Alright, Grayson, as you peer into that hole, you see a small, round object, shriveled almost as though it is a piece of produce that has been reduced in size. As you look a little bit closer, though, tilting your head to one side, you note that for produce it looks decidedly more meaty. It has wisps of hair curling off of it, stained white and red from fright and old blood. And it takes you a minute, but it dawns on you. This is a shriveled, shrunken head. You realize this as you peer into the empty eye sockets. The eyes long since have been rotted away and taken by rats.
Guys, I think this may be items that the cult reused in rituals or something. They're creepy.
Nocturna, are you looking in that one right there?
I'm actually gonna look down the hallway to see what's ahead, if that's okay.
Sure, no
Like, can
problem.
I throw my torch down the hallway too?
Okay, hold on. You don't need to throw your torch to see down the hallway. You see what is actually a corridor extending downwards and then curling off to the right. You see the end of the corridor right there.
Oh boy. Can I sneak like further down and peer around the edge?
Certainly. And,
Well, not actually sneak, but
as you creep down the hallway, you see another curve to it and a doorway leading further in.
okay. I'm just gonna hold here and I'm just gonna hold here.
Alright, Paige, you're looking in that one?
She was trying to perceive down either hallway to see if she heard noise from either hallway, but she A, rolled low, and B, Nocturna went that way, so I guess she'll try to see if she can see down this one.
Alright, so you peer down this hallway right here, and it is a sloping descent. The stonework here is kind of falling away in places. Several of the blocks that make up the floor missing and revealing the cold, wet earth beneath until it descends into a pool of brackish water that bubbles up around a portcullis blocking this end of the passage. The portcullis extends from floor to ceiling, made of hard, iron-looking metal, thick bars that even extend underwater, though as black as the wavelets are, you're not entirely sure how deep it is.
I hate that. Okay, we're going this way. Not that way.
Paige jumps into the wall.
Lily looks down this one now.
Lily looks in that
I
one.
am not going to look at any, and I am going into the hallway.
Excellent. All right. Well, since Lily's looking in that one, I am going to describe what she finds.
Yep.
Lily, as you stand on a stair so that you can peer into this hole, you see what looks like at first a glove, and then you realize it's a hand with long, sharp claws, the skin wrinkled and yellowed with age, and tied around the wrist of the severed appendage is a loop of rope.
I don't think I could use that to stab someone with. I'm gonna go look down at this one.
Lily's just running from window to window.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I'm
She's
gonna.
window shopping.
I'll describe this one, and then we're gonna switch over to the rest of the party, which has continued onward. So you look in here, and you find another dagger. Not made of bone like your last one, although there is a small vermin-like skull set into the pommel where one would normally put perhaps a gem or some other precious item. The blade itself is keen steel, shiny and razor sharp. It looks brand new almost.
Hey, Lucy, can you get that one too?
Yes, let me go grab it for you. Right here, right?
This one.
Alright.
Lily, Lucius, we are being left behind. We should catch up if we want to remain safe.
You're right. I'm gonna quickly grab it and then walk this way.
You grasp the dagger, drawing it towards you, and make me a wisdom saving throw, Lucius.
Oh no.
I get mind controlled by a knife.
Never knew.
Says it like he's done it before.
So wisdom saving throw. Ah.
Well.
Lucius, in the back of your mind, you hear a soft chittering, and for the next hour, you are convinced that you are being stalked by hundreds of rats. But every time you turn to look your head, they vanish from the corners of your vision.
Hate it.
Did you hear that? Do you hear the
what?
rats?
What do you hear?
The rats.
There are
has
no
to
rats
be.
down here. They were eaten by the ghouls.
But I hear them.
Let us
That
know
woman
if it
ghouls.
gets louder.
I guess you're right. I do have pretty good senses. It must be around here somewhere.
Lucius,
Ratty.
calm down.
You're right. You're right. We need to follow the group. Come on, guys.
I'll be right back. I need water.
Okie doke.
There's some on the ground. When we come back through here, if we come back through here later, can we look in the other windows?
Perhaps, Lily. Although I don't think most of the items here are of
Worth.
value.
I got a bone knife.
Lucius picks up Lily and puts her on his shoulders because he's trying to protect her from the rats. the non-existent rats that he is like sure exist.
Yep.
I mean, obviously they do. He hears them. We just don't. It's fine. He has super keen hearing.
You know what? Thank you for making Lucius feel valid.
It's that dragon hearing. But anyway, Grayson and Gallon have been, or sorry, Grayson and Nocturna have been kind of cautiously awaiting the return of everyone as they kind of peer down this hallway, holding and waiting for the group. Peering down here, you see it extends onwards with several branching off passages, it looks like, from the position you're in right now. There are two kind of nooks directly next to you as you look into this area, one here and one here. And it just looks like cold stone. There are notches in the walls as though something had been removed from it at one point.
Interesting. Grayson will walk cautiously forward.
Normally, Lucius would try to be in the front of the party and take damage and whatnot, but right now he has Lily on his shoulders and needs to protect her from the rats.
Grayson takes out his sword and his shield, just in case something jumps out at him.
Alrighty. So, is anybody going along with Grayson?
I'm
Come
on
on,
Lucy's
Lily.
shoulder, so I have to wait for him to move.
I was waiting to get past everybody. Alright, here we go.
I am in the middle to the behind, hopefully.
Alrighty.
Nocturna's AFK right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Grayson, as you move down the next row here, it seems as though there's a set of shackles that still have maintained in the wall about the same point where those other notches and grooves had been yanked out before. They're empty, but they do dangle, clinking together lightly.
Do we?
Grayson will be like, I think this may be a prison of sorts.
A dungeon, one might call it.
Yes, that's the word I was looking for.
Unsurprising, given what we found in the other room. I can't move my character. Oh no.
Is that a skeleton? What?
Yes, it is. So as you peer down this hallway over here, you do notice a skeleton clad in black robes still dangling from a set of chains.
Do the black robes kind of look like what we've seen in the chests?
Yes, actually, they look extremely familiar. In fact, they look almost exactly the same.
Why would they tie up one of their own? And
But keep an eye on it, but do not approach.
Too late for Grayson!
Too late for Grayson.
Grayson,
Yeah, Lucius is just gonna be like, I've got your... Rats, fucking...
Okay, I'm refreshing roll 20.
Grayson, you creep closer to the skeleton, stopping a foot or so away to eye it over. Your initial perception sees nothing amiss as you draw closer still, reaching out to gingerly pat down the robes and investigate it further. You don't find anything disturbing in the remains. No stab marks, no slashes. It looks as though he was merely chained here and left to die. Time and starvation doing what a dagger could have done far more mercifully. You do see the glint of a metallic object, and you look up thinking it to just be the shackles. You notice a very grimy and stained golden ring still embedded in the withered flesh and bone of the skeleton on one of its fingers.
He'll slide the ring off slowly. One of these days, Grace is gonna get cursed.
You reach up gently
That
to
is
the
today.
ring between your thumb and forefinger and begin to slowly wiggle it back and forth to try and draw it off the emaciated finger. It's about halfway off when you make a dexterity saving throw.
Is everything in this hallway just cursed?
Probably.
Probably.
Not my dagger. I'm good.
That was cute.
Oh no!
I'm going to real dice.
Gently
Isn't he our
draw
rogue?
the ring off. A soft pop catching your attention. You look up just in time to see the grinning skull of the skeletal human falling towards you as the rest of the skeleton detaches from the wall and collapses atop you, a cavalcade of bones and tattered cloth spattering across the cobbles as it rolls away, lifeless and just a little bit macabre.
Get the ring?
Lucius puts Lily
You do.
down and it's like, you need help? And
Yes, please.
yeah, and it starts to like uncover Grayson full of that shit that landed on him.
You have the ring and about half of a forefinger that's stuck and embedded in the metal as well.
It's a pretty ring.
You
Lucius
want it?
looks-
It's stuck on a finger.
I mean, we can get rid of the finger. And she grabs it.
Be my guest.
It's like a messed up version of a monkey's paw.
Oh my god.
Lily is now in possession of one golden ring worth about 45 gold, finger additional.
Does the finger subtract from the price or add to it?
Well, I mean, that depends on who you're trying to sell it to, doesn't it?
Very true.
He's like, monster hunting, you come across some freaky people who will buy that stuff. We could find somebody.
Okay, so Lily puts the finger and the ring in her bag.
Okay, come on.
I think he
let's
just
get
hired Lily to be his apprentice monster hunter.
Is this also a skeleton? And
No.
this one too?
No, those are merely chains that have been left
Okay.
to corrode and rot upon the ground.
Paige would like to go down the hallway a bit and investigate to see if there's been any recent movement besides us. I can't do this right now.
Okie dokie. I will roll you a perception check.
Perception next.
Oh, that's a 4. Paige, you were a little bit more disconcerted by the fact that you just saw Lily come out of a cell with a finger in her hand.
Other prison cells.
I can make something neat for you out of that later.
Cool.
The finger or the ring? This is Lucius asking.
Yes.
All the
Yes.
people I had to be stuck in a haunted house with.
Lily, you see it first, and Wilhelmina mere
I agree with
moments
that.
after her, as you sort of glance in here, seeing if there's any other loot that might be had, whether it has an owner or not. You notice that the stonework right here is a little bit off color, about 2 to 3 feet wide and about 6 feet tall. It's sort of a box-like shape.
Lily's gonna wiggle off of Lucius' shoulder and go, "Look over here. This is weird."
It is weird. Be careful, Lily.
She's gonna throw a rock at it.
You throw a
Or a
rock
tooth.
at it.
She got a tooth. She's gonna throw a tooth at it.
You throw a tooth at the wall. It clicks off and falls to the ground, rolling a distance. Nothing happens.
She picks up the tooth and then goes to the wall.
All right.
I hesitate to suggest, but I believe we should push on it.
As you
Paige
say,
will approach the wall and try to give it a push, see if it'll budge.
as you say that, Lily's investigation check of 17 seems to indicate that yes, that would be a lovely idea. And Paige approaches. Lily shows her where to push, and easily, without even having to make a strength check, as you reach out, there's a grating noise of stone moving as you feel the wall shift as though it is a secret door. Do you open it all the way, or do you continue exploring where you are now?
Lily opens the door.
No. Paige will hold the door and not let Lily open it, and she will say, "Wait, wait," and then she's gonna extend her head around the door. Take a look. Take a good gander.
Oh. What the fuck?
Uranium?
Oh.
I mean, yeah, it looks like uranium.
What?
I have a song for this.
Or kryptonite.
Plutonium. Oh yeah, kryptonite. Kryptonite. I like kryptonite.
Oh my gosh.
Or neon lights?
No. You guys, it's a glow stick.
It's a big glow stick.
Well, I'm gonna go touch it.
This is where all the glow sticks have ever been made come from.
I'm upset that the older they get, the more my body cracks like a glow stick. It doesn't actually shine.
Right?
Alright, let me just describe what you see here.
Should we roll perception checks or not?
You can roll perception checks.
Okay.
So, as the door opens, the grating stone is the only sound you hear as a hush falls over this room. Only the sound of the door grating across the stone, the gentle trickle and slap of wavelets against the side of the stones in this room heard. The smooth masonry of the walls provide excellent acoustics for the trickle and run of the water as it peels down them, pooling in the very center of the room. There are stone pillars lining the walls here, holding up the ceiling, the arching top rife with fissures from the water falling from above. In places, there are small waterfall-like streams trickling downwards, splashing into the darkness of the pool below. The water is thick, black, and brackish. You can barely see the bottom when you look there, even at the edges where it is most shallow. 2 sets of stone stairs to the south lead downwards into the pool, just as 2 more to the north do as well. You see there the iron portcullis that separates you from the rest of the room that you'd already been in. At the very center of the room, rising out of the black waters, on a dais of series of steps leading upwards, 3-tiered, there lies an altar, small greenish runes glowing along its length, a bloodied cloth draped over it. And then as soon as the soft sounds of whispers had halted, they begin once more, but not as whispers this time, but as a roar, a chorus of voices raised as one in perfect harmony, screeching against your senses. One must die. One must die. One must die.
Did we all hear that?
Everyone hears that.
Paige takes a quick look around to see if there's anything moving actively, if there's any active threats that she can see. And if not, then she will finally push the door open fully.
Oh, wait, the door's not open.
Finds Lucius already in the room.
My bad, didn't know the door wasn't open. I wanted to go touch it.
You want to touch that water, though.
Touch me. With an 18 perception page, as you look around, the only movement you can see is the bubbling of the water itself as it laps around the pillars holding up the roof, and the small wavelets that ripple outwards whenever water from the ceiling strikes the dark pool.
Right, okay. Paige will open the door fully and then go to pick Lily up and say, as she puts her on her shoulders this time, I don't think you would be able to cross the water without swimming, and I don't want you to touch it. Understand?
Don't touch the water. Okay.
Good girl. And then she'll proceed and try to cross.
You step into the room with Lily on your shoulders.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody else going with you?
I
I
asked
will
Lily
middle
for
to
a
back.
tooth to put in the water.
I have a terrible idea, but I'm still gonna. Nocturno's gonna follow them into the room, view how amazing this altar is, clears his throat. Oh, this looks rather unholy. I can make it quite improved. He's gonna attack the altar with a sacred flame.
Well, an
So now
altar
that
can't.
Nocturno does that, I want to get towards the exit.
Yeah, and which exit? Back the way you came, or the portcullis to the north, which is still down?
Or the tree to this. Is it?
Oh,
that a tree?
that's actually a conglomerate of refuse that appears to have collected over there. Algae strewn rotted pieces of wood. You think you might see like a bone or two thrown in there. There's several like rocks and bits of garbage just piled up. The water laps up around it as though it's been pushed in that general direction.
Not a tree.
Was there a blanket or a tarp covering something?
A bloody cloth.
A bloody cloth covering the altar that is now being attacked by Nocturno with a sacred flame. And newsflash, altars can't make dexterity saving throws. You see the holy light flash over the altar, singeing the cloth that's upon it. And then you see those runes flare wide. And everybody go ahead and make me a constitution saving throw really quick.
Nocturne!
Mm-hmm.
Hey, I thought it was a good idea.
You know, I said I'd switch to real
I'm
dice.
fine.
and I
I'm not
forgot.
worried.
Nocturne
Money, baby.
I did
No
the wrong
consequences
one.
for my
That was
actions.
gonna happen when he did that shit.
I did the wrong one at first. I think.
I don't like my con save.
Me either, and I'm really upset because my con's supposed to be higher.
Yeah.
There's no consequences for my
Same.
actions, at
I
least on
rolled
me.
so poor
Nocturne.
that my +4 made it a 10.
Nocturne, you knew what was coming. Well, rather, you knew what you were doing, so you threw up your arm just as soon as you saw those runes start to flare, and you are perfectly fine. Wilhelmina, you too kind of just shut your eyes really quick and crouched behind your bullseye lantern. And Paige, you just managed to kind of dilate the lenses that make up your eyes so that it minimizes the force of the blindness as they flare up. Everybody else, you currently are blinded for the next minute as the runes flare up.
Fuck. I missed it by 1. I missed it by fucking 1.
I missed it by 2.
Who can't see currently? And oh dear.
Technically need 'em.
I turn around
Everybody
quickly,
except for-
accidentally bumping into Wilhelmina. I cannot see.
Let me have your hand.
Okay, I try to hold Wilhelmina's hand.
He's like, it got really dark in here all of a sudden.
Lily, are you still upon Paige?
Yes.
Okay, then yes, stay there.
Still lower her within your grasp, though.
Those of you who are not currently blinded, make a perception check.
You should still here's the rats. All the rats.
He's
Oh,
blind and
yeah.
here's the rats.
They sound like they're
It's
getting closer,
fine.
Lucius.
He grips
Perception.
Wilhelmina's hand tightly.
I'm too worried about Lily.
Don't worry about the
I
rats.
gotta-
I'll deal with the rats when they show.
I got a teeth mace. I'm not afraid of nothing.
Nocturna and Wilhelmina, you are the only two who notice it when they first appear. But one by one, floating
This is the rats.
high above
It's not the rats.
everything, sort of hovering near the ceiling, you begin to see shapes take form. Humanoid, swathed in black, ragged robes of a familiar sort. The faces devoid of any head. They peer out at you, just floating black pits of emptiness with two cold red burning eyes within. One by one, they raise hands made of bone and decayed flesh, pointing towards you. You count 12 in total, all floating near the ceiling as they point towards you, chanting, "One must die, one must die, one must die."
I will describe that to everyone.
Lily,
Yes.
may I speak to Prudence for a moment?
Okay.
And so Lily kind of blindly, pulls Prudence out and is like,
Paige has a question for you.
Well, all right then. What can I do for you?
Paige will go to gently take Prudence from Lily and hold her and ask, "Do you know anything of this?"
Well, I do declare this is all new to me. I can say that I have never been in this room before, but it sure does not have exactly the homey appeal that I myself am used to. They could really use an interior decorator, and here I am just not really loving this indoor pool look we got going on here. I think we could perhaps use a bit of sprucing.
I see. Paige will seem to think really hard about something very quickly as I double check something with a certain somebody.
Whomever cannot still see, I have another hand. Who am I closest to?
I'll
Minus
probably
last?
reach out. I'll probably reach out a minute
Oh god.
Okay.
since I was next to you, or I am next to you.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
as you're
take this
having
moment to
as you're having this conversation with the doll Page, the blindness is starting to fade a little bit from people's visions. Spots are still dancing in your eyes, and looking too closely at any
Okay.
one light source is quite painful for a minute or two, but
I'm gonna take this minute to cast False Life.
excellent.
What does that do?
Grayson is actually gonna go in the water and
What?
over to the thing.
Oh, I gotta roll one. Sorry.
I thought I was the reckless one in the party.
Is it
We're
slash roll?
a reckless party.
yeah, /roll space 1D, whatever.
There.
Wilhelmina,
Oh, ooh, max roll. Hell yeah, baby.
Yes.
Will-
Paige.
And
will you watch Lily for a moment, please?
Of course.
And she'll kind of pluck Lily off her shoulders and set her down, and if she still can't see, she'll guide Lily's hand to Wilhelmina's hand and link it. Yeah, and then she's going to wade across the water with the others with Prudence.
Emily's gonna go, where are you taking Prudence?
A closer look.
Grayson,
Be
how
fine,
was
Be
the
Lily.
water?
careful.
Huh?
How
Make
was
sure
the
Prudence
water?
doesn't get wet.
Alright,
I'm
time out,
assuming the water
everybody.
was fine.
I promise she won't get wet.
Grayson is investigating the altar. I rolled a 21.
Excellent. So, as you climb up upon the dais where the altar is, those forms float closer until they are completely surrounding the dais on all sides. Where there were 12, there are now 13, one hovering above the altar itself. This one looks down at you with the barely visible features of a man. The nose peeled back into the skull-like face, the lips pulled back from rotting gums. As it peers down, it makes a motion with its left hand, as all the light seems to pull from the room, even the lantern that Wilhelmina holds. And everyone hushes for a moment, the chanting ceasing. It looks at you, Grayson, who approached first, and it says, "What do you give?"
Paige is gonna look over at Grayson.
Yeah. What are you doing?
Lucius has a tooth that he holds out.
The creature turns its head slowly from Grayson towards Lucius's offered hand.
Apparently, I was muted.
You
Oh
were.
no.
I roll insight to see what maybe I might infer what he is asking me. I rolled 18.
18. He appears to be asking you what you have brought to give.
I'm assuming sacrificed then.
Lucius is still holding out this tooth.
We got more teeth where that comes from.
Grayson looks at Paige.
With a 21 investigation, also just a quick glance at the altar as all this is going on, there appear to be several necrotic runes carved into the woodwork of this altar, and it is in fact woodwork. It appears to actually have naturally grown this way, as if a tree just naturally formed an altar down here at the very bottom of this pit. The roots, aka the legs of the altar, dig into the platform stonework extending far below.
Right. Okay. Paige is going to use her sending stone to connect to Grayson's sending stone to send him, and only him, a message.
Okay.
Whisper, whispers.
Which I will have to DM, which will take me like a hot minute. So if you guys want to do something in the meantime, I go for it.
We'll address the tooth issue at hand.
Cool.
So, Lucius, you offer it a tooth, and it turns its head slowly from Grayson to face you. Those twin pits of burning red burrowing into your own gaze. The lips peel back from the maw. Unworthy.
Lucius like mutters like, figured, pretentious. Let's just push the tooth away. He's like, now what else do I have?
It starts again as a whisper, first one, then another, then all of them slowly joining in. One must die. One must die. One must die.
Option?
Ooh. For what? For,
One second.
for what cause?
Lucius repeats it as he still has the thing's attention. For what cause?
I'm still awaiting the lovely DM.
Sorry, they didn't know which one you were, so I've told them.
Okay. I just messaged them too.
There you go.
He's like whispers like, guys, they didn't like the tooth. I'm out of stuff.
We got more teeth if it's a number issue.
And
I'd rather offer nothing at all.
as you ask what purpose, the figure draws closer. He's mere feet from you now. At the edges of its non-existent feet phasing through the altar as the spectral figure leans towards you. And though it is incorporeal, you can feel the waves of stench roil off of its incorporeal rotting body as it breathes out, breath wreathing your face in a chill cascade. For he who rules the land, and those gathered around the altar repeat, he is the land. He sees all. He is all.
Grayson grabs Prudence from Paige, throws Prudence on the altar, and stabs his sword in her.
Wait, what the? Go ahead and roll me an attack roll.
And Lily's gonna run across now when
Oh, fuck.
I'm gonna run after and try to grab. What can I do?
That would be contested strength.
20.
Okay.
Okay, hold on. One thing at a time. All right, Lily
Yeah.
jumps in the water as you throw Prudence down the altar and make your attack. A 20, you said?
Yes.
20 does hit. Lily, Wilhelmina's running after you and attempting to grab you. I need contested
Yep.
strength throws from the two of you.
Prudence.
I don't know how to do contested.
do strength.
There you go. That's a save. You need a regular strength check, not save.
Can I medicine check Prudence?
In a minute, one thing at a time. All right, so you try to grab Lily, but she slips from your fingers, wrenching free of your grip with a strength that no small child should possess, and proceeds to race through the water towards the altar, screaming Prudence's name. Draconius, go ahead and roll me medicine check, and Grayson, roll me damage.
Okay. Let's see.
Prudence, I feel
What the fuck?
9, 10, 11,
I
12,
can't
13.
fix her.
13 points damage.
You said 13?
Yes.
All right, so with a 5 medicine check, you're not really sure what doll anatomy does, but there are several cracks spiraling along Prudence's face, and Grayson has shattered one of her arms with his stab. She screams in what you think might be a facsimile of pain as you see several clockwork servos running beneath her surface, sparks flying off her. As although she has never really gotten up before, she lurches to her feet and tries to leap off the altar and run towards the water.
Can Grayson attempt to grab her and throw her back down on the altar with his other hand?
Lily's going to go up and shove Grayson.
Oh, fuck.
I'm going through the water and trying to grab Lily again.
Okie dokie. So first it's going to be...
She was nice to us. Why would you do this to Prudence?
This is going to be a... Lily, roll strength for me to see if you're able to hit Grayson. Just roll strength, and if it meets the AC, then you hit him. 18?
That is my AC.
Okie
That's
dokie.
a double touch.
Alrighty, so she strikes you, and you feel the life being, the life, quote unquote, being leached from your person, just a little bit, as Lily kind of drags it from you, but it only deals you 1 necrotic damage as you are resistant. But go ahead and make a dexterity saving throw to see if you fall off the platform and down the stairs into the water.
Okay, that is
And if you make,
24.
you said 24?
Yes.
Okie dokie. You stumble a moment but manage to not fall off the platform. And then if you are trying to grab the doll, go ahead and roll me just a quick dex check to see if you can grab her before she jumps away. Wilhelmina, you can go ahead and make another contested strength roll against Lily to try to grab her.
21 dex check.
21 dex check, and I'm going to break out the good dice and roll in this lovely little heart-shaped thingy that got me for Valentine's Day. I love it so much. Time to break it in and see if it's any good, Rob.
It'll be good.
You just managed to turn the entire party to have entire party civil war. How do you feel?
It'll be fine. It must be done.
Does it have to though?
Oh,
Did you
Rob.
play?
Oh, Rob.
Don't know.
Oh
Oh, man.
no.
So that's a 19 plus 4 is 23. What did you say you rolled, Grayson?
21.
Uh-huh. So Prudence slips through your fingers, plunging into the water. And as her feet leave the dais, you hear everything fall to silence for 1 second. And then, as each of the 13 specters, one by one, vanish from view, the very last one, the leader, quote unquote, raises his hands, the black cloth falling away and peeling back from his decrepit body as he raises his skull-like visage to the ceiling. Lorgoth, we invoke thee.
Quack.
And there's a rumble to the south as that mass of green vegetation starts to shift and raise and rise.
Fuck.
Grab the doll!
As a shambling mound rises from the mire and into view. And everybody needs to now roll initiative.
Oh,
Oh my god, it did nothing. You stabbed Prudence for nothing.
Well, it's not like you helped.
Logath.
Uh-huh.
I wanted to help Prudence.
Logath as in Logath.
Hold on, let me spell it for you.
I was not on for it. There's a reason you kept me out of this conversation, and you know it.
Lorghoth. Lorgoth.
Lorgath.
No A. Lorghoth.
Oh, Logorth. Goth. Okay. Yeah, okay, let's get the initiative, I guess. Fucking hell.
I thought I selected my thingy, but I don't think it
I did
worked,
not
and I don't see
either.
the turn order tracker. There we go.
Yeah, it just popped up for me, but Lily's not on it.
Give me a second.
Okay.
I'm not on it either, but I will be on it now.
I rolled a 22, but I guess I will
You
put
can
myself
roll
on
your.
it.
You can roll in roll 20 and then just change your thingy to what it was when you first rolled it.
I think
There
I
you go.
rolled.
If you did, you didn't click on your token when you did it.
No, you did
Uh,
con save. You have to do initiative.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Oh, yeah, Liz,
Yeah.
you can adjust your. Here we go. I can adjust it too there.
I'll just go with the roll I had.
Yeah, your first one was 18, so.
Yeah, well, that's because I messed up. That's why I lost it, so it's fine.
Fucking hell.
Did it work that time?
You didn't pop up on the turn order. Here, I'll do it for you.
Thank you.
Just want ugly mothers.
Mm-hmm.
This is why I still think attacking the altar was the right thing to do.
Kill the doll, we might be saved. Just kill the doll!
No, she's one of us.
I'm not letting her leave this house.
You,
You
what?
attack the ghost.
Wow. Okay.
Alright, is everybody up on that board, I think?
Unfortunately, Logash rolled so low. Oh wait, he gets 2.
Alrighty, Grayson, you're first up. Hold on, let me get actually let me get the doll up on the board since you seem intent upon murdering.
No.
This will be under. I put her under mechanical things, I think. Yeah, there she is.
I'm not on the in turn order because I can't. It's not letting me do it from the app. I've tried it.
Oh, I
You
added
are.
you. I added
No,
you.
you are.
Okay, thank you.
You rolled a 14. I got you on there.
Well, no, my first roll was an 18, but it didn't go through. That was 14 was my second roll.
Oh, you said 18 you rolled?
Yep, Paige did roll 18. It was after Nocturna's 5, and then 11.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know if you want to use the 5. I just had to select my token.
We'll use whatever you rolled first.
The 5.
Okay, let's change you to 5
It's
then.
still before the monster.
It's true. Everybody's before the monster.
Yeah, well, thank goodness. Thank freaking goodness.
Well, let me roll for prudence in a minute here.
I don't know why, but without the token, I kept thinking Prudence ran off this way. I don't know why, but that's where I just thought it ran off to.
I would have assumed she ran towards the door.
I thought she ran north.
She was just attacked by
party members.
She was just attacked by people. So.
Oh no, that makes a lot more sense. My head just thought in this direction.
I thought north.
Also,
I thought, like...
where
Go ahead.
wherever I am token-wise on the map, I should be near Lily. Just saying, because I keep trying to grab her.
Yeah. Also, I was thinking that she would run, like, this way, away from Grayson. That's what I... Like, because she was on the altar, and I thought that she would run that way, but...
She ran straight off the altar.
Yeah, as quick as possible, kind of.
It was just like, I have been stabbed. Get away. She wasn't exactly putting a lot of thought into it, except for, sword's bad. I don't want that.
It's a good point. It's a good point.
She wasn't exactly expecting to be murdered, so...
The second she got stabbed, I tried to help.
Alright, Grayson, you're up.
Grayson is going to use his bonus action to cut his finger and cast Blood Curse of Binding on the giant thing that just moved. That is... Hold on. It gets a savings throw, DC 13 strength, or its speed be reduced to 0 for 1 minute.
What? Okay. Alright, so...
Zero? Good, I like 0.
Is it get to repeat that save at the end of its turns, or is it just like that for a minute?
Every turn it can hold on. I clicked away from the page. Let me go back. At the end of its turn, it may make another strength savings throw to move.
Well, it lurches out of the pile and then shudders to a halt, and you can see parts of it twitching wildly as though it wants to move, but it's not able to.
That was his bonus action. For his other action, he is now going to chase after Prudence and attempts to grab her.
Alright.
Lily is not going to let you get out of her attack of opportunity zone. I'm just giving you that heads up.
Go ahead and make your attack of opportunity, Lily.
She is going to, because she still has that bone dagger in her hand. She's going to do that.
Does a 20 hit Grayson?
Yeah.
It's gonna be
Mm,
6 piercing damage.
And she's gonna yell, "Don't you go near her!"
Also, Grayson, can you make me a quick Constitution saving throw?
oh no.
Oh, God. Bone dagger.
What's
This
my
is at least
con? My
4
con's
kinds of
score?
bad.
18.
The civil war that was started because he stabbed Prudence.
18. Okie dokie. Yep, you pass.
Oh
Okay.
no.
Oh my god.
And
One will definitely die
oh.
now.
10, 15, 20, 25,
No,
30.
we'll see.
You can reach it. And then he will grab Prudence, or try to.
Okie dokie. Go ahead and make a grapple check, strength check against. She's gonna use acrobatics because she has no strength. She's just trying to avoid your grasp.
Okay, so that's strength. 17.
Okie dokie. Come on, sparkle dice. Give me something good. 18 plus 2 is 20.
Ah!
God damn.
Thank you for this lovely dice box, darling. It works beautifully.
I should have froze her, not the giant.
Yeah. So she slips free of your
No,
grasp.
the giant's a good choice to freeze.
And grapple is an action.
Not for the civil war going on.
If you have any more movement left, you can totally use it. Otherwise, I believe that's your turn.
Yeah, that's my turn.
If you want to use a free action to yell anything, you can.
I will use a free action to tell people we gotta sacrifice this doll if we want to leave.
We're not using Prudence.
I feel that this is very unwarranted.
I heard half of that. Can you say that?
Feel
one more
this, feel dead? What?
She said, I feel this is very unwarranted.
time? Okay. Okay.
I'm not letting you leave this house alive.
Well, that is just downright rude. I haven't done a damn thing to hurt anybody, and I'm not even trying to hurt you when you're trying to hurt me. Also, Paige's turn now.
She raises many good points.
Okay.
God.
I don't know what to do.
Everyone
okay.
pick a side in the Civil War.
Okay. Paige is going to turn her attention toward the giant thing, and she's going to say, surely that thing has life. Kill it, we leave. And then she's going to try to do this thing she has said. Now that there's another option. Let's see, what do I have? Combat spells. I don't want to go near that thing if I don't have to, so we're gonna fairy fire it, cause it's all in a corner by itself. I don't think this is... How do I cast this from here again? It's just a description, that's not...
Oh yeah, because it'll be a saving throw, so it'll be against your DC.
And it should fail dex save since it can't move.
Yeah. Does your ability say anything about dexterity saving throws during this 1 minute?
I mean, its movement is reduced to 0. That's what it says.
Wow.
So I mean, if it can't move.
Well,
Is it considered restrained
movement.
or paralyzed? Does it have a condition?
No, it just says you bind a creature. The saving throw or the speed is reduced to 0,
Oh,
and they
if
can't.
it's
Oh,
just-
sorry, they can't use reactions, and they
Okay.
can't use reactions.
Okay. If its speed is reduced to 0, that usually just means that like it can't move its feet and it can't use reactions to attack things, so it can still make dexterity saving throws to kind of lean one way or another. It just can't move from its square when it's doing it. So I'll do it with disadvantage just for the sake of argument.
Hooray! I have a chance.
It's a 13. What's the DC on your fairy fire?
That's a good question. How do I tell?
Oh, hold on. Let me look at
In
your
your
spells.
spells, it should say spell save DC near the top.
It is 13. So it makes it.
Shit.
Damn.
Well, that was my one action, so as a backup, Paige will get as close to Prudence as she can. She doesn't look like she's gonna grab her yet, but she's gonna get close.
Okay, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25.
I guess she'll try to get on the other side of her, so she's gonna stand between.
I'm just checking your movement.
Grayson
30.
and
Yes,
Paige.
you can get right here. 30.
But she's not actively trying to grab her.
Okay.
Because you know, if Lily sees that, she'll hurt you.
And that'll be Lucius's turn. What you doing, big boy?
Lucius kneels down to Lily and says, I know you want to save Prudence. I do too. No man left behind. She's one of us. But we currently have a thing we're fighting, so that should take priority. We will save Prudence afterward, or else we all die.
And Lily's gonna point at Grace and be like, "Tell him that."
You hear that, Grayson?
Hey, I did something to the monster already.
And then you went after Prudence.
I'm going to take out my crossbow and start crossbowing things.
Alrighty, roll
This
that
is
beautiful
very
bean
heavy
footage.
crossbow.
Alrighty, so that is an 11. What's your AC, buddy? No, that does not hit.
Ah, fuck. I will... Hold up, how far... 1, 2...
What?
Yeah, I'll jump over the table. 3, 5, 6.
Right, what does this thing look like exactly, by the way?
It looks like a mass of plant matter and garbage garbled into one large ball with kind of odd appendages coming out that are somewhere between flesh and wood.
I will try to pick up Prudence, but
Okay.
I want her to know I mean no harm.
You
What that
No.
what that tells me is it's flammable, and we have a bottle of alchemical fire. Did we take that?
It's on my belt.
Okay, I was gonna say I sure hope we
Yeah.
took that.
So persuasion for Prudence.
Thank you. She didn't trust me, does she?
She let's see. Just gonna insight that. That's an 11 plus 1, 12. Are you telling her the truth?
I am. I am telling her the truth. I'm going to pick her up so those two can't get her and then give her to Lily.
Yeah, she's sparking something badly. She's like on the very bottom step and she's almost completely submerged in the water at the moment. So yeah, she'll take you up in her offer. She holds up her one remaining arm towards you and she's like, yeah, please get me the heck out of here.
I pick her up and and I end my turn while holding her. I'm going to deliver her to Lily my next turn. Or Lily can come to me and then I can give her to her.
Speaking of which, it is currently Lily's turn. As of last round, I believe that... Yes. Wilhelmina had managed to grab a hold of you, Lily, so you are currently being grappled. You can use your action to try and break free.
You got through.
Say what?
I thought she didn't. I thought I lost her twice.
You lost her the first time. The second time she rolled a 5, you rolled an 8.
Okay, cool.
So Lily, you have the option of using your action to break free of the grapple, or you can make an attack against Wilhelmina, or you can do something else.
Mina, are you still grappling me? Like, I just want to make sure you are still grappling me.
Please don't stab her,
Under,
Amina.
under my understanding, yes.
Okay. When my turn starts and I'm grappled, you get 4 necrotic damage.
Oh,
Okay.
fuck.
Wilhelmina,
Lily, these are our friends.
It happens when I'm grappled, okay?
Yeah, this is an
Yeah.
involuntary action.
Right.
So I'm going
Okay.
to,
But that's
Then-
not an action.
right, that's just when my turn starts and I am grappled,
Yeah.
or I am grappling
Right.
someone, that happens.
That's why she's so spicy.
I'm so spicy.
Yeah.
I'm going to look at Mina and say, please let me go. And try to persuade her to let me go, as opposed to the strength, because I don't have the strength.
Alright, go.
Right.
This wouldn't really be... This is kind of a thing where I think you two would have to RP this out rather than making roll for this. Because I can't just say
Mhm.
you persuade her.
Right. Yeah. So
Let me go. I have to go get help. Prudence.
I'm trying to decide what is even happening.
Yeah, that kind of came out of pretty left field.
Happening is we have a very easy option of getting out of here and a very hard option, but they're basically the same option.
Murder!
Not necessarily, but I'm gonna say nothing to Lily in the end and just let her go, especially since she just hurt me. And I am going to cast.
Oh, it's
No,
not
I
your turn
can't.
yet. It's not your turn yet. Yeah.
Nope. Yep. So I'll do that.
Okay. Lily, you have been released. You still have movement and action.
If you go
Okay.
to me, I'll give you prudence.
So I'm running over here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I'm going to grab Prudence.
I hand her prudence.
And then I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4,
Grayson,
5.
you have an attack of opportunity on Lily of Prudence should you choose to take it.
I will do an attack of opportunity on Prudence.
Okay, go ahead and roll that.
That was a nat 20.
Oh, roll that damage.
Yeah, nice.
Prudence, no!
What the fuck?
I did not hear what the DM said.
I said roll the damage.
Oh. That was a D. What is it? A D8.
It's a good thing you chose prudence instead of Lily, because then I would have hurt you.
That's 12
I
points.
think
of damage.
everybody would have hurt him at that point.
I let Lily go.
What was the damage you said?
12 points of damage.
12 points of damage.
Fuck.
Alright, Lily, as you turn to run with Prudence, was it your sword you're attacking with?
Yeah.
You see a blade flash before your eyes, and with almost pinpoint precision, as Prudence turns to look at you and says, "Oh, thank goodness you're here." A sword pierces her skull and comes out through her mouth, and Lily, you watch horrified as Prudence's eyes look towards you for one last time and then slowly shut, and her entire body goes limp.
She goes, crap, I wanted to kill it on the altar!
Oh shit, dude!
No.
Oh fuck.
Lily,
So because I didn't do my dash action, because Prudence was killed before I could run away,
Lily, no.
Lily is not. Did I already do my bonus action?
No, you didn't do a bonus action or an action yet. You used movement and you used a free action to speak to Wilhelmina and ask her to let you go.
Okay. I am going to take on my form of dread. because I am not very happy about what just happened, and that is kind of what happens there. So as a bonus action for 1 minute, I slightly transform. Let me see here. I get some temporary hit points. Let me do that real quick. 1d10.
Oh, Grayson, you're so fun.
Cool, awesome. So I get temporary hit points plus my level, so that's 12. So let me put that on my thing real quickly here.
God damn.
So that's 20 plus 12, so 32.
You can hear the anger in her voice.
I'm not very happy with Grayson at the moment. Let's see here. When you hit a creature with an attack roll, you can force it to make a wisdom saving throw. If it fails, it's frightened until the end of my next turn. And I am going to then... so you see her kind of change in front of you a little bit. You think you may smell popcorn? Is that what you're smelling here? It's kind of weird. You start smelling some popcorn, I think. You start hearing kind of some creepy music coming from nowhere. And she turns and she just bites at you. With fangs just coming out of her mouth there. And obviously it's not going to hit you there, but I believe though, let me see here. So I don't hit you, so you don't have to do the wisdom save there, but yeah, that's kind of what happened there.
A whole lot of bad.
Oh man.
Yeah, the gentle, soft piping tunes of Calliope fills the air as hot buttered popcorn hits the senses. It's rather disconcerting, and as she turns to look upon you...
Lucia says, guys, not fight each other, fight the monster, not fight each other, fight the monster.
And this little girl just turns upon you with rage and tears in her eyes and just attacks viciously. Alrighty, and that's it for your turn. Gallon, you're up.
Okay, so before that all happened, I had this burning question in my head. I meant to ask for earlier, and we could wait on this first question if need be. But is there any way that I could figure out with context clues from earlier in the house, or just a roll on who the he who is the land, who's he who sees all, and he who is everywhere? Any idea who that would be?
That's the main dude that we were told about, like, originally.
That's
sure
what
it's Strahd. They worship Strahd.
Yeah, that's what I'm pretty sure of. I'm pretty sure that's Strahd.
Yeah, between the letter and the context of this place and what you've been told just by the children and everything else you've gathered, they're probably talking about Strahd. It's either that or they worship this giant mound of garbage and roots, and that doesn't really seem likely.
Yeah.
I mean, he is the lamb.
Yeah.
He is the garbage chute.
More importantly, I want to see if I know anything about this Lorgoth.
No, actually, you do not.
Okay, not
This is
even
the
a
first
roll.
time any of you are hearing this name. You do not have to make a roll for that.
Okay.
If you want to make a survival check to see if you can figure out what the fuck it is, though, that would be okay.
Yeah, I will do that. Is that a free action?
Yes.
Alright. Survival is an 11. Natural 11.
You're not really sure what it is other than fucking huge.
Oh, fucking hell. Okay,
Just Joey.
Alright, how far away is it from me? Is 45, 50 feet away from me. What is the range on my spell? 60 feet, cool. Or that spell too. What's that? That is also 60 feet. Shit. Still not even sure what the fuck to do.
Go
He
after
is
the
going
plant.
to standard action, throw an ice knife at this monster to the south of us. So that should be a attack roll with a +5 to hit. 15 for a 20 to hit.
20? Yes, that hits.
And then as a D10 +3, and then I think I need a dex save from him.
So you
Yep.
roll the first damage, the damage from hitting him.
Yep, I'm doing that. Oh, that is max damage. That is a 10 for 13.
Minus 13.
And that's piercing. 13 piercing.
Okay, let me see.
If I had something I wanted to shout, I'd have to wait until my turn for a free action to do that, yes?
No, talking is a free action. And go ahead, as a dexterity saving throw, go ahead and roll the damage, because I think even if he makes it, he gets half damage, right?
Nope. The cold is just negated, if I can remember correctly. Let me double
he
check
does
that.
fail.
Oh, he fails?
He fails.
Alright, that is 8 points of cold damage.
And you see the ice knife explode, shards of chill frost peppering this creature. It doesn't seem to have phased it quite as much as you thought it would, though. And Paige, you were about to yell something?
Well, given that this thing was referred to in a tone of perhaps eminence, authority, it seemed like they worshipped this thing, the Shades did. She's going to assume it doesn't come from a happy, good sunshine place, and she's going to say, "What of the orb? Would that?"
Would that what?
Well, she trails off as like, in the sense of, would that hurt it? Would that kill it?
Okay. Anything else for your turn, Gallon? Any bonus action or movement you'd like to use?
As a bonus action, he's going to spend his 2 sorcery points to regain a spell slot. And, he is going to move. 1 second, sorry. I want to check something if this will open. What's my range on this? Okay. He's gonna move 5, 10, 15, 20. Let's see how far away that is. Okay, cool. I'll move right there then.
Excellent. Alright, Prudence needs to make a death saving throw.
Oh, thank God. Prudence is still
That's a 1 failed death save for Prudence.
Alive? Question
one.
mark?
Nina, please, you spare the dying on Prudence. Or can she?
Well, I mean,
I have tinkering.
do we even think she's alive? Is there any? She's twitching?
She is not moving, and dolls don't generally need to breathe, so she is currently lying broken with like a hole where her hole in her head. Several of the gears within spun out of proportion. A couple of them are still whirring sporadically, like little electronic impulses, but you don't know if that's because she's alive or just the twitches of dying machinery. Anywho, it's Wilhelmina's turn.
Yeah, so with Sanctuary, do I get, I don't know, it says 1 bonus action. What does that mean? Is Sanctuary a bonus action?
Yes.
Okay. Can I do a spell and Sanctuary?
I believe Sanctuary is itself a spell.
Right.
Yeah, Sanctuary is itself a spell,
Okay.
so you can't use another spell, but you could
Right.
use a cantrip.
Okay. So I will cast Sanctuary on myself, and I will use Prestidigitation,
Okay.
and I will snuff out my lantern.
Okay. So now the
And
only light in this place is the glow of the runes upon the altar itself.
yep,
Oh, and
and then
Nocturna's
yep,
torch. She had a torch.
right. And that would be it for me.
You don't want to come closer so you can try to tinker with Prudence. Save Prudence's life.
Just shut it.
Lily is going for Prudence.
Lily's going for Grayson at the moment.
Yeah, Lily's gonna kill Grayson.
Where's Prudence in regarding to
Right
Grayson?
here.
They're both right there.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I
Right.
don't have a map, so.
Yeah.
Here, I'll take a screenshot.
Shish kebab on his sword, maybe.
Well,
Right.
he took his sword back, so there's just like a gaping hole where the sword was.
So she's on the ground. Okay. No, I'll wait. Can I get ready
Lucius
to?
is like pleading, like, please help.
Can I get ready to pounce once Grayson is clear of Prudence to grab her?
5, 10, 15, 20,
Prudence
25.
is on the ground right now.
Prudence is on the ground, currently out of Grayson's grasp from where she was dropped.
Okay, and out of range of Lily. Because I don't
No.
want to get hit by Lily.
Right next to Lily.
Right next to Lily.
If Lily does not grab her.
Yeah, you can move over to where she is and
Get
The next
ready.
thing Lily wants to grab is Grayson's throat.
Yeah, but we don't know yet. We're like mid-action.
You've
so.
already done your action for this round, so you can't ready an action to grab her, but if you want to try and grab her on your next turn, if nobody else has, then you can do that.
Okay, yeah, sure.
Okay. Alrighty, Nocturna, you're up. You saw this tomfuckery.
Oh my god.
Oh,
Attack the monster while you can!
Did we lose a Nocturna? Yeah, we did. Okay.
Yeah,
They warned us that might happen. Alright, so
Yeah.
Nocturna.
Maybe he's still hell bent on attacking the altar. Who knows?
Yeah, actually, I'm gonna go with that. He's like, guys, like, we just need to destroy the altar. Come on now. And he is going to
Attack it.
He tried Sacred Flame already, so he's gonna try to Tall the Dead at the altar this time. I don't want to waste one of his spell slots. So yeah, he's gonna Tall the Dead at the altar. And the altar can't make any saving throws, so this like bell bongs out, and it melds very well with the calliope music that's swirling around Lily.
That is the monster.
Since it already took some damage, it makes more damage, right?
And the runes actually flare again, but this time instead of blinding anyone, they seem to swirl with even greater necrotic energy, as if taking sustenance from that Toll the Dead spell.
Well, that was... don't like that.
And he's gonna step subtly to the north and hide behind this pillar right here.
The pillar?
It's a pillar.
Oh, there are
That's a pillar.
pillars. I didn't even realize that.
Oh,
There's pillars, yeah.
Lucius turns to Grayson and says, try to fight the monster. I'm gonna try to calm down Lily and save Prudence. I know you don't like one of those options.
That doll, I'm putting it on the damn altar!
Alright, and then it's the Shambling Mound's turn. He has no movement, unfortunately. But at the end of his turn, he does get to make another strength save. What is the DC again?
It was 13, I believe? Yeah, 13.
Oh, that's a 19. So, as you two are arguing about whether or not the doll lives or dies, there is a roar and you notice that the creature is bound no more. And that's where we're going to stop it for the night, and we'll pick up in 2 weeks.
Also, I should notify that 3 of us will not be able to play likely in 2 weeks, possibly.
Oh, do you think you're going to be working next weekend? Question mark.
Next
Yeah,
weekend
we can
is
move it up
Starfinder.
maybe.
Sorry.
Or push it back.
Hold on a sec. Were you going to be working next weekend, do you think, Rob?
No, but next weekend's also Starfinder.
Well, I know, but I was going to say if you are working again, we could do Curse of Strahd because you wouldn't be able to run Starfinder.
Oh no, I won't be.
Okie doke. Alright then, yep, looks like we're going to take a little bit more of a hiatus. Give you time to plan strategies for dealing with Lorigoth here. Thank you everybody out there who was watching tonight. We greatly appreciate it. You can catch some of us back here on Friday this week for the B Crew. Last episode of the month is always the B Crew on Fridays, where we can explore the Dreamverse with them. And it looks like we're going to be having Starfinder this next Sunday, so that's going to be fantastic.
Also, in the comments below, say what team you're on for this Civil War. Team Lily or Team Grayson?
We're all the same team.
Oh, that's not how it feels right now.
Not anymore.
Not according to Lily.
Yeah.
So,
But anywho.
yeah. Team Iron Man, Team Captain America. Let me know.
Oh man.
Great.
But anywho, since some of us will not be available for Curse of Strahd, not this Sunday, but next, it's possible that this particular session will not happen. Rob, are you going to be available for session 1, or are you going to be unavailable?
I'm probably
Trip,
more
right?
than likely not going to be available for the first session.
Okay. Well, then I think we're just going to be pushing both of them back probably, just because, at least if anybody else cancels from the first session. This one, at least, though, will be pushed back to the next available Strahd night. So you guys are going to have about a month hiatus before you see what the fuck happens with Prudence and everybody else.
That'd be the 20th.
Yeah. But anyway, thank you out there for everybody who watched tonight. Don't let the lilies bite. And don't smash any Prudences, and you won't have to find out what happens when they actually do make that attack. Good night!